Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All In channel. I host Sega Forever here. Um, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys, like myself, woke up this morning and got a message from Microsoft that they'll no longer be selling movies and television programs on their Xbox store. So, I wanted to do a video. This is a Wrecking Crew podcast, and so I sent out the bat signal to all the guys to see who could pop up and who wanted to come in and share their thoughts and opinions. Won't be a long one today, guys. I got stuff to do. Um, Trying to get it back online, trying to get it a little bit more consistent with the channel. And I've seen a lot of different opinions on this. I have personally my own, which I'll share, and I'll do it now before the guys jump in here and let them talk. And of course, if the people pop into the chat, we can do that as well. But hold on one second, I'll bring this up. But yeah, I woke up this morning, right? Went about my business, did my thing. Then I noticed on my phone, got a notification. Clicked on the notification, and basically it was Microsoft saying that they will no longer be will be selling content in their stores when it comes to movies and television. Which, if you guys watch my channel, guys, you guys know what I'm all about. This is not just an Xbox only channel; it's a pop culture channel because those are the things that I like to do. It's part of my lifestyle, as I like to say all the time. Sorry about the noise outside, guys. Um, it's what I do kind of on this channel. Like you guys see me put out other content recently where it has nothing to do specifically with Xbox. But one of the things that I do love about Xbox, and one of the things I was hoping they would start doing, especially over the last couple of years, when you see them focus a little bit more on offering stuff that's outside of the box. I used to do videos like that on my channel called Outside the Box, and basically it's just me talking about things that Microsoft does that's not necessarily, or I should say Xbox does that's not necessarily just video games, right? And that's something that they were going to do in 2013 with the Xbox One, and that's why the Xbox One is called the Xbox One. I talked this about a million times on my channel. Um, it was going to be that all-in-one console. That's why my channel is called Xbox All In, and that is something I was looking forward to the most because that's something that I wanted to participate in, right? 2013 comes and goes. Microsoft got hit hard from a lot of the quote unquote gamers in the gaming community who talked about all they wanted a console to do was play video games. We all know that's not true, right? And you can tell by your own friends list how people participate in the ecosystem of gaming, right? And that's what Microsoft went forward to, right? Phil Spencer takes over, right? They focus on gaming. They focusing on making the most powerful console. But as they were doing that, they were also realizing that they do everything that people were requiring them. But people were never happy and they wanted more. And that made a lot of sense because we don't live in that type of monochrome type of environment when it comes to entertainment, especially. Right? Things have changed a lot over the last 20 years. Shoot, I'm old enough to remember the last 40 or 50 years and how people consume entertainment, the type of entertainment we have, how far gaming's come, how far movies come, all of that. And Microsoft, has always been a company that's been on the cutting edge when it comes to that, and that's why the Xbox One was going to be so revolutionary, and they're trying to get ahead of the game. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for them the way that they had planned to, and I wish they would have stuck by their guns, because in a few short years later, everybody started doing all the stuff that Microsoft wanted to do. Other companies started doing it, and I'm not just talking about what was going on in the console space, or even the gaming industry. Right? Everybody on this planet has Netflix. Right? Netflix is huge. There was a time where people thought Netflix was just going to be a fad. Right? That Netflix wasn't going to catch on the way that it has, and look where it is now. It's one of the things though I kind of critique Microsoft on is they'll do stuff like that. They'll be forward thinking. They'll put stuff out there. They'll do the R&D. They'll do all of they'll invest the money, and then for some reason they'll pull away from it. Now, look, dude, I don't know the inner workings of Xbox and what's going on with Microsoft and why they're doing what they're doing. I can surmise, I can kind of guess, I can kind of look at the numbers and come to some type of reasonable conclusion. But at the end of the day, it won't matter for somebody like me because of the way that I participate in the ecosystem. Right? And I got to be honest about this because I talk about the ecosystem a lot on my channel. If you guys watch my videos, if you guys know what I'm all about, it is about the ecosystem. And it's something that Microsoft believes firmly as well. Well, at least in when Phil Spencer started to adjust, and even up until I'll go as far as back into 2024. They still were right. They would tweak certain things, right? But they looking at certain things like they're looking at engagement. They're not looking at the one for one console demographic to game sales. I'm pretty sure at the end of the day they are looking to that. It is a money factor, but they're pursuing other avenues, right? And for me personally, having content has always been what has always been king, right? You always need content to drive your ecosystem. To me, it's the nature of the beast. So it is kind of confusing to me why Microsoft would do this with their movies and TV. Now, again, full disclosure, I probably participate in this part of the ecosystem that Microsoft offers more than most people. I see a lot of comments that was on X today, people talking about, oh, some people were like, oh, I didn't even know they still had that, which goes to tell you how often they participate in it. They weren't taking a shot at Xbox or Microsoft, they're just being honest. And there are people like that out there. It could be one of the determining factors why Microsoft is no longer doing this. I don't know what the one for one is on the money that they spend, which is interesting to me because we'll talk about that a little bit. Like how does it affect the service? On the surface, it looks like everything's going to be okay. But let me read this article before we go to the deep dive and give you guys my thoughts. Um, do a deep dive and give my real thoughts about the situation. Kind of lay the foundation here. So we pulled this article from The Verge. It's by Tom Warren. Right? I got to give him credit because I'm going to use his content. But Microsoft suddenly kills its movies and TV store on Xbox and Windows. And what he means suddenly is just like they just dropped that news today, which I think is pretty. I'm not happy about that. They should have given people a heads up. But again, this is what Microsoft is doing now, right? They're making bold decisions. Something I actually criticized them on. Of course, if it doesn't go your way, you're not going to be happy about it. But I just think from a consumer perspective, especially as how they purport themselves as being consumer friendly, right? All of this stuff. I mean, look, they're making moves, they're readjusting, they're redistricting, right? The way their content and the way they're going to deliver the content, sell it on all of that, dude, and that's on them, right? I personally think they should do a little bit better job of being consumer friendly when it comes to stuff like this, because it's going to set a precedent and a standard. You know, like I don't think they like this. This is it. This is it. Like for somebody like me who was hoping they would go back down this direction, I had hopes that they would go back, revisit 2013, not in its entirety, but there are a lot of things that they were doing recently that would suggest that. Right? But here we go. Microsoft has suddenly shut its movies and TV store on Xbox consoles and Windows PC. As of today, you can no longer purchase new movies or TV shows from the Microsoft Store on Xbox or Windows, but you will still be able to access previously purchased content on your devices. So that's a big thing right there. It's not totally going away, right? Whatever you purchase, right, you still have it in your library, and you can access that library anytime. It'll still work. I'm pretty sure there'll be some stuff that you might have some issues with, and you can contact Microsoft directly to get it resolved. Um, Downloads will continue to be available on Windows and in HD max resolution. I don't know what that means, right? Because I buy a lot of my stuff 4K UHD. Microsoft says, but you have to continue using the movies and TV app on Windows or Xbox to play the content you own, rather than accessing it from another service, unless you purchase movies or unless you purchase movies or part of movies anywhere in the U.S. Microsoft is not offering a refund for purchases either. So hold on one second, guys. So this is kind of what they're talking about. Again, I got the message two ways. I got it in my email. I also got it on Xbox app. And so when you open the Xbox app, they'll send you to the actual store, um, and then they'll talk about specifically because they know people are going to have a lot of questions. So this is something they thought about for a while now, right? So you just come over here. It says, "Can I still buy?" And right now you just hit the drop down, and it'll be very specific of what it can and can't do, right? So I know a lot of people will be like, "Hey, can I get a refund on my purchase?" That is going to be no, right? Microsoft Store terms of sale. That's why a lot of times people don't read that stuff. And again, it's something that I've talked about on my channel when it comes to digital content and why I buy digital content the way that I do. It's because it is. Which I mean, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy if I'm being honest with you guys. Right? On that end. Sure. I don't buy digital stuff full price most of the time. It has to be something that I really like, that I really want. And I'm not saying that I never bought full price on it. But the majority of the stuff I buy, for various reasons, right, is usually on the sale price, right? Like for example, dude, there's like for me personally, right, when I have with all the movies that I already have those movies. Either I had it physically, and then I've gotten rid of them, or I still have some physical stuff, or I have it on other digitally on other services, like Apple. I was using Vudu a lot, which is now Fandango, right? And so a lot of my movies was over there, and I wasn't using the Microsoft Store. But over time, especially since 2017, when they started shifting, right, and then they made the movies and TVs more predominant in their storefront, right, and they were selling it and advertising it. And then I found myself, because I spent so much time on my Xbox, what I would do is just, it was easier for me to just buy the content. And what I did was, a lot of the movies that I owned already, I actually rebought them. Right now, granted, it was on sale, like either $7.99, $4.99, some $9.99. So I put in the time and the money, right, to rebuild my collection. Even though I have it on Voodoo, I wanted it on Xbox, because a lot of times when I'm finished playing a game and I just want to switch over to watching something, right, it's there for me, right? Especially if it's a movie like I really like. Right? For example, I just bought Better Off Dead. Already own Better Off Dead VHS. Already own Better Off Dead physical copy disc, right? Bought it on Fandango, and now I bought it on the Xbox Store when it became available. In fact, I just bought it a couple months ago, because it became available on the Xbox Store, right? And that's another thing too, right? Because when they start doing that, Microsoft wasn't just doing the mainstream type movies that people want to watch, like the new releases or the most popular. They were actually doing a deep dive into other libraries of content, right? And for me, that's another issue that I'm going to be looking at when it comes to the stuff that I own digitally, right? Because I have stuff from studios that are not movies anywhere, right? So it's a good thing that Microsoft did a lot more of the content with movies anywhere, so that you can do that. Like for example, Microsoft was still selling content, um, hold on. When Microsoft was still selling movies and TVs outside of today, you would see them pop up automatically, because I do have movies anywhere, right? So if I'm on Apple, I would see the movies there. If I was on Amazon, and my daughter uses Amazon more than I do, the only service I really use streaming a lot is Netflix. So it's usually Netflix or on my Xbox. Now I will say, like I talked about a show on my last video called Silo. I've been checking out some of the stuff that Apple TV has, but I wouldn't necessarily say that I would get subscription services and just keep them for in memoriam, right? So like for me, if I have Apple TV, it's usually I do it from, like, if there's a bunch of movies that or shows that come out, then I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I'll look at it. Well, the thing for Apple TV with me is attached to my subscription service of one of the stuff I have, I think my phone or whatever, so I can watch it. Didn't even know. So I'm not even technically paying for it. I mean, I am, but not really. But most other streaming services, I don't go out of my way to subscribe to them, because everything I need is basically on Netflix. Right? Now, if there's something that came out and there's a bunch of other movies, like my friend hung out with him one week and then he showed me a bunch of other movies to watch. Luckily, I have Amazon Prime. Luckily, I have Paramount through Roku, I believe. I think that's going to expire soon. But anyway, I didn't have to actually add the subscriptions, though I would have, is my point. Um, but the content that you're buying, that these people own digitally, like if it's not in movies anywhere, you might not have it. I talk about this all the time, guys. It's like some of the content I have is specifically, for example, I buy a lot of television shows, right? And so some of the TV shows I have, I don't know if I'll be able to keep them. Like I can play with the app, but for how long? Is Microsoft buying the licensing? There's some kind of thing that Microsoft is doing, right, to put this stuff in the store. That's why they're letting me know. Oh, sorry, man. Others Inc. I'm sorry, brother. Hey, what's up, bro? I'm so
No,
sorry.
man. I just clicked on. Of course, man. I could never do anything like this on a weekday. I'm
I know you're busy, but I appreciate you popping in. Go ahead,
hey,
speak.
I'm
Speak.
gonna I'm gonna be late just to hang out for a second.
Sure.
Yeah. So what's going on, man? So what's this? What happened here?
No, so I woke up this morning and then Microsoft sent me a message. Well, they send everybody a message. And so what it says is that Microsoft will no longer be selling movies and TV in their store. But what they will do is whatever content you have, you can still use it on your Xbox. And but they just won't be selling it. And of
You know
course,
what I think that is?
yeah.
Because I was getting ready and listen to you read a little bit of it, and then I saw how you clicked on to a few things there. Um, what I think they probably had to pay more for the service
Yeah, yeah,
because someone else owns those rights, and
yes,
Microsoft was just paying for the rights to, you know, to be a part of it, to give,
yeah,
just to issue more content. Because I'm in the market every day, so
right,
that's one of the reasons I can't follow the shows like I used to all the time, and I absolutely love what I do. But at any rate, even uh, Morgan Stanley, they have to. They're not going to be able to get free. They're going to have to start paying for information from different entities.
right.
Usually they didn't have to pay for it. Now, I'm next time I talk to you guys, I have it in my notes. Um, someone that provides a service for how they get their large language models and how they
Mhm.
provide information for their artificial intelligence to to gain more people. They
Right,
the company that supplies them with this free information, they're going to start charging them for it. So
right.
everyone is going to start charging each other for every little thing now. And this is one of the things that, hey, we had a good for a little while, but now things are changing in that aspect, where we just can't have all of those perks. And I remember the first movie I ever bought was Ferris Bueller's Day Off from from the Microsoft store a long time ago, man. I was bored. Things were going crazy in my life at the time, and I just bought that movie at like 1:30 in the morning, you know, and I don't even know how to. I used to know how to get it, but I have to figure that out. But yeah, but that was the first movie I got, and you talking about movies here. I just bought um, and I'm glad it happened because it was $14. I don't know what I did with my Hebot and Sega Man hard copy of the movie Eddie Murphy made with Dan Aykroyd. Um,
Oh yeah. Trading places.
Trading Places. Yeah,
Yeah,
I just bought that last night for 9.99
yeah.
on.
It was on sale a couple weeks ago for like seven
Yeah.
ninety nine, or a couple
Oh,
months
okay.
ago.
Well, it was 14.99 when I was trying to get it. And I was like, man, I'm just gonna look for my Sega Man and Ebot version because I have a hard copy somewhere. And
Yeah.
and I said, well, I'm just gonna get it now. So it was I turned it on. It was 9.99. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get that. And I was skeptical because I'm like, this is on my one of my TVs upstairs that I watch the stock market on. I'm Can I watch this other places? I'm sure. I guess I think I can. So
Mhm.
but yeah, man, I think that's what the case is with that. We'll lose some of those privileges that Microsoft just don't want to pay for anymore
Well,
because
I
you
know
you're
when
gonna have to start paying for everything.
you remember we used to be able to shoot our stuff straight to Twitter. Like I would share some some short clips of my
Hmm.
gameplay to
Hmm.
Twitter, and then when Elon bought Twitter, turned it to X, then he
Hmm.
started charging everybody, and that's when Microsoft they actually I remember Microsoft said no, we're not going to do that, and so that's why you kind of got to download it, and then you get it in the Xbox store, and then from the or not Xbox store, but you get it on your Xbox profile, and then you can take it and share it. Like you got to take all these extra steps to share it, which I still do, right? And so
Hmm.
I understand why, man, because the amount of money he wanted to charge people, and not just Microsoft, just all these businesses that was utilizing his X service. So that was yeah. So you talk about like I say, sign up times. That was definitely one of them.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm not
So
gonna
it's
lie. I'm not gonna lie, Zink. I didn't expect this today, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know. I'm like, what's this? And I just happened to look at my phone. I saw a series of texts. I'm like, what's this? I said, oh, this is Sega Forever. I said, I can't get on here, but I'm choosing to be late because I haven't hung out with you. Where's Dia at?
I know she's been busy, man, with the house, and they got a lot of stuff going on. But I
Okay.
did send her an invite if she has time. She can pop in. I send everybody an
Yeah.
invite. But I
Yeah.
know, dude. Look, dude, we all busy. We all got real
This is a
world
fact.
stuff to deal with,
And
and
you know what? Since it was you, if this were unlimited, I probably would have called him or text him. But I never get. I know it's probably 8 a.m. or something in Hawaii right now because our time we what 8 hours apart or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's
Six
some.
six
Yeah,
hours. It's
six.
something crazy.
Yeah, six
Y-
something.
Yeah. It's what time is it over there?
Yeah, it gets 1 in the afternoon.
It's 1 in the afternoon over there.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
got to be
All right.
like
That's not bad.
seven.
It's 6:30 over here. Six
Yeah, yeah,
twenty
yeah.
seven.
So 5 hours.
Okay. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Central.
That's pretty good time. It's pretty good time. Hey man, what else is going on, man? What else you got? While
No,
I have a
that's
little bit of time.
you know, dude. I probably wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for this story.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I'm trying to get the weekly thing back up, but I mean, other than that, dude, I just been playing my games and on the gaming front, dude, nobody can touch Xbox. I can say that
No.
much.
No. And they can say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, they
Like
can say.
100 had a quick show
No, no,
yesterday.
yeah, and you were
And
on it. Yeah, I was listening to
he-
it. Yeah,
dude, I just happened to look at my phone. I saw him on there. He
yeah,
put that in StreamYard, and I said, "Damn, I shouldn't click this. I'm working right now, you know." And things were moving real fast, so I jumped in there to say what's up real quick and talk about a few things. But here's one of the things that people miss when they say Xbox have all of these layoffs. All right,
yeah,
is they never talk about how many hires Microsoft had. They never taught, and like I told
yeah,
100, they hired when the world was shutting down. I lost a massive contract, an insurance contract around that time because the world shut down like 8 days before we were to sign this contract. Everyone lost a lot of things, and here, and there's been many businesses from donut shops closing, many restaurants, small businesses that close because you have no consumers because they shut the world down. So Microsoft is hiring feverishly during that period. And unlimited production put that stat up of how
yeah,
many people were hired and how many people Sony wasn't hiring. It was a steady decline since like 2011 or 2012, and no one talks about that. So here, no one ever looks at the other portion of the perspective ever.
yeah,
How many people did you hire? How many businesses did you buy? What corporations did you purchase? How many people did you bring on? Did you save any companies? These people, Microsoft, who was going who had the guts to move that company from the Ukraine where they lost a bunch of their staff because they had to go fight the war?
yeah,
They took that company, let them finish their game, move them somewhere else, let them finish their game. Who else would have done that? Why didn't the market leader Sony go over there and do it? Since they claim they're a market leader, with Sony's line as Sony wasn't hiring anyone. How about Microsoft saving Activision?
yeah,
Because a lot of people they know this, but they don't want to talk about it because it shows integrity what Microsoft did. They purchased a company that was in trouble, in turmoil. A lady killed herself. There's a lot of things going on over there they shouldn't. Multiple lawsuits in California. They lost damn near half of their net worth. They went from being worth like 127 billion down to like 67 billion. Warren Buffett even stepped in and was the wound up being the largest stockholder in the company because he bought so much uh, stock from Activision, and they really bailed these people out.
yeah,
And at the end, people know this too. They Activision hired some 2,000 people in like the last 6 months of before they were acquired by Microsoft. So what do you think's going to happen? They going to lay some. They already were going to lay some people off, and then you have this King issue over here, and then you hear people saying, "Oh, they only bought them because of King." Please don't believe that. Was it a big choice? Yeah, but Call of Duty is a number one producer all the time, every single year. And
yeah,
you don't think they got them for that? You fooling yourself. So they don't talk about those things. So they have a reason to reduce redundancies. People doing the same jobs, people that weren't doing their jobs well from Activision, people that were there just hanging on. just because I have a job. That sound like what was going on over at King. You weren't making any new maps. What were you doing? Other than chilling. And then a lot of these people are contract people, like 100 was saying.
Yeah,
Sure,
a
they
lot of
are.
yeah.
A lot of them is contract work. And then I screenshot something because I was busy, and Sony had this hiring thing going, and it was for all contract work.
Hmm.
That's that's not employment. You're on a time limit here. So those are people that you don't even plan to keep. That's why Sony it costs Sony so much to produce a game, because nothing is done in house. The majority of their work comes from contract work. Even with Naughty Dog, they had some what, two, three, 400 contractors uh working for Naughty Dog now. I mean, at the time before they got rid of these people. So you have layoffs for a reason, and part of it is this, and this is the part I don't like. Yeah, yeah, I made money off Microsoft stock, because when you reduce your workforce, the stock market is going to say, hey, they're becoming more streamlined. These are 9,000 people that we don't have to provide insurance anymore for, after like your 8 months run out. And Microsoft has an extensive package. So don't let people say, oh, eh, Microsoft do their employees horrible. They let you know when you're going to be gone,
Yeah.
unless you're a contract worker. Then you up when your contract is out. We're not renewing it. But people that were employees of Microsoft, they know when they're going to be let go. They know it's coming, and it's not coming right away. But when it does come, then your severance package kicks in. So these people will be getting paid for a while, and of course, it's not nice. But the main portion of why a lot of companies do this, Amazon laid off more people than Microsoft. So
Oh
did
yeah, there's
Meta.
companies out there that dude. I work. Look, dude. I mean, for the organization, I can tell you this: the organization I work with, 275,000 people gone. Two hundred
What did you
seventy-five.
just say?
The organization I work for,
In the military?
yeah, yeah. I'll use the F word, right? Two hundred
Okay,
seventy-five thousand gone,
okay,
and
okay.
that's not even counting That's not even touching contract people. That's not even touching positions that just went away.
Yeah.
That's not even talking about streamline on whole departments' budgets. You see
And
what
that's a
happens.
little that's a little different because it's
Yeah.
mostly military.
Oh,
But
but
of course it's this.
federal across the board. Federal
Yeah,
across the yeah,
that's
it's crazy.
that and that's even worse,
Yeah.
because we supposed to be taxpayers paying for this service, right?
Hmm.
So it shouldn't be gone that quickly. But a company institution like Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, all of these people, Nvidia, the only one that I didn't hear layoffs coming from is Nvidia. And I don't know how large their workforce is. I just know that they're one of the most beast companies on the planet. But
Yeah.
when you have federal layoffs, what happens with that is, in some areas, well, you should know this, and I'm
Hmm.
positive you do, it'll decimate that community. Especially if you had, like, it's one place out on the East Coast where it's like 20,000 of their employees is in one concentrated area. That's that's a lot of jobs lost in a certain area, man. That's huge,
Dude,
you know.
the state I live in relies a lot on federal.
Oh yeah.
Before it used to be certain industries and tourism.
Well, you stay in the prettiest place in the world. I told you that before. I went there on college spring break, and I tell, one of my boys in the chat, Ramo, um, I'm really good friends with them, and he and his wife. And I told him he needs to take his wife to Hawaii. It's not a prettier place in the world. And when I went, I stayed at a Nauma Bay, and the backdrop is Diamond Head. And I
Oh
told him the
yeah,
one thing you have to do is go see Pearl Harbor. And I said, man, this you can't explain that. You just feel different as that boat is getting closer to where those ships sank.
oh yeah,
At least that's the way it felt to me. You can't describe that, you know. But I'll never go back to Hawaii, because you're sitting on top of like seven volcanoes. That's
yeah.
crazy. First,
Yeah.
first, you're going to a place where you can't run away. So you trapped. And at any time, one of these volcanoes could go off, bro. Hey, like part of my package, we were supposed to go to Kilauea. I think that's where they had the continuous volcano
Yeah,
erupting,
yeah,
and I think it just stopped not too long ago. But dude, I'm a black guy from the Chicagoland area. So you think I'm gonna go towards danger, towards an erupting volcano? Get your crazy ass out of here. We didn't go on that. Like, no, man, we're not doing that. But yeah, man,
yes,
all of those layoffs with the military, I think about the communities that it destroys, and that happened out here when the auto plant closed. Then
yeah, yeah,
Bethlehem Steel and Inland Steel had to lay off because
yeah,
that was 3,000 workers gone. I actually got a 98 on the paper from doing that. But, those are things that people don't see, and that's what I look at. And when I was saying Microsoft didn't deploy the rest of their resources when they were buying Activision, and the CMA was talking about, no, we're not going to let you do it, bro. You out of your jurisdiction.
yeah.
Though these are two American companies. If they don't buy Activision, those will be up. That will be a lot of jobs gone out of a community. So you stand over there in the UK and you shut your ass up. All right. You don't have nothing to do with this over here. Microsoft could have done a lot of things and crushed them and made this happen a lot sooner. But
I
they
wish they would
wanted
have.
to but the reason they didn't do that, like I was explaining to the other guys, is too much going on right now that Microsoft is a part of. Like Microsoft is about to be the next $4 trillion company,
So
and
wait, you saw they hit 500. How high do you think it's gonna go?
their stock,
Yeah. Oh yes,
bro.
sorry.
Listen, when their stock price dropped to 462,
Hmm.
I wasn't in a position to buy everything, or I would have. But I told one of my boys, take empty your 401k, put it all on Microsoft, all of it. It went from 462 to like what 510 or 507.
Yeah, something like 508. Where?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's life-changing money.
yeah.
Now, Microsoft, you know, I don't want to, wouldn't want to tell somebody to buy Microsoft at this point right now, but yes, they're going to go to 600.
Yeah.
I'd say by next year, this time they'll go to 600, but I kind of wait for a pullback because the market, they some cheating Sony ass people. So eventually that stock is going to drop to like 462 or 470 or something. And then I just buy shares, but you're not going to get your return on investment until about this time next year when
Is
that.
everything riding on the AI, right?
Well, everything isn't riding on AI, but it is riding on AI because Azure is a AI cloud that has everything in it. And
Like I know
Azure,
I know it's multifaceted with Microsoft because
correct,
they're also pushing the energy. That's a big thing too.
correct.
Like
Well,
everything they're doing seems to be pushing industries outside of not just what we think Microsoft is.
Microsoft is doing exactly what Microsoft does.
Right.
They're in software, but this fourth industrial revolution has hit,
Yeah.
and it's artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
But what the reason you said them buying energy, in order to power artificial intelligence, you must have a power source. Our power grid isn't strong enough.
Oh yeah.
We don't have enough power. So
Yeah.
these when they say chips from Nvidia, Sega forever, these things, some analysts, they're like, some of these analysts are like video game journalists. They don't know shit. So as I'm sitting here listening to them say, "Oh, Apple makes chips, Microsoft makes chips, Amazon makes chips," and then one smart person will come on, and this lady named Jen, she comes on and says, um, "the the chips you're talking about and the chips Amazon make are different.
Yeah.
These are 70-pound GPUs and 3-ton GPUs that make up a big ass data center for power. You're talking about a small wafer, two different things." Okay. And because NVIDIA is making something, they have a self made monopoly that no one is in comparison with them.
Yeah.
They're on an island by themselves,
Yep.
except for Dr. Lisa Su. She's the closest one, and she's 85% behind NVIDIA, away from them, but she's the next competitor. Okay. But I want to get back to what you said about power.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons Microsoft is literally saving Sony by offering them business that you'll be able to get 30% profit off of, and we're going to take this 70. Almost the same thing they did to Apple. When Apple was struggling, everybody was against Apple in the 90s, and people don't want to tell you this, but when they were in court, Bill Gates said, well, we'll give them $150 million. Bill Gates is ready to walk out. Judge's like, no, hold on. We have to figure out at what rate Apple is going to have to pay you this 150 million back. Bill Gates turned and said, no, fuck that. You can have it. I'm out. And didn't have to pay it back.
Yeah.
But now, because Bill Gates saved the business, now we have Apple, a $1 trillion $3 trillion company here, and a powerful one at that. They just don't innovate anymore. But back to what you
Yeah.
were saying.
They need to work on that actually.
Yeah, they do. Now, of course, I have a Z Fold phone, and
Mhm.
I'll never get a regular phone ever again in my life. But Apple is supposedly supposed to be coming out with a foldable phone. Okay. And of course, when Apple comes out with one, like Sony, they invented it, right? Whatever. But anyway, back to you and your power.
Yeah.
Microsoft is since so much power is needed to run these large language models for AI and everything. Microsoft bought a nuclear plant in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
and they're going to revive this plant because you need a lot of power to run this.
Yeah.
They're going to wind up changing all of the power grids, not only here, but across on all 7 continents. And Microsoft is going to be such a big part of this. You don't want other entities saying Microsoft is too big, we got to split them up. Well, this is one of the reasons Microsoft is, and I told y'all this before, but a lot of people don't believe it. But in a couple years, you're gonna see. You're gonna see why this is done. And all of these games are going over there to help keep Sony afloat. Sony, nobody talks about this, but Greg Miller, his bomb ass, did a show with Yoshida.
Yeah.
Remember that? And
Yeah.
Yoshida said the TV division at Sony bailed out the PlayStation.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It came out of his mouth,
Mhm.
but nobody wanted to talk about that shit. I'm just waiting on the right time to bring that up and just gonna slam everybody's head. Now, of course, not our heads, not the group that we run with, because we know better.
Yeah.
But other people that's not talking about this, I'm gonna knock the head off with that shit because I know they don't know why it happened. So I'll enjoy knocking their head smooth off, you know. But you need too much power, and these NVIDIA GPUs are the only way this power is going to come about. Along with the nuclear plant, they're going to use some solar to help. The solar is not as powerful. You need a field of solar panels
Mm.
to produce just a quarter of the power that
It's not even.
these things
Yeah.
generate.
It's not even close.
It's not even close, but it keeps things going. But you need a heavy power source for artificial intelligence.
Did
But
you
and
see? I saw like the Department of Energy is really
mm,
trying to fast track this. They're talking 26, which is next year, and I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
oh no, it's already
I'm not saying they
started.
can. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not saying they can't, but I'm like, dude, that's pretty fast.
Well, that's one thing that I'm glad about because you stop the bureaucracy
Yeah.
and the paper trail and the redundancies to slow down progress. The reason China can do things faster is because when the government say we're going to do something, they're going to do it. They don't
Yeah.
have to wait on a political group to stop them. They'll say, "Hey, you shut up. You sit over there. We're going to do this when now." We started actually yesterday, but you didn't tell us. Didn't I tell you to shut up? You don't have a say so. But over here, yeah, everybody got to throw their 2 cents in. Do you know why we don't have? Hey, people are mad because the Xbox cost a lot, right? The
Yeah.
PlayStation cost a lot, right? Well, the materials needed for uh for our memory cards is very expensive.
Yeah.
It's very lithium is very expensive.
Yeah. That's
And
why
we
I want them to bring all that stuff back to you. I
a
really do.
Sega forever. We have a lot of lithium in the Las Vegas, Nevada
Mhm.
region. You know why we haven't tapped into it? They only gave us a little bit of mining opportunity for to mine to get this lithium from that region. You know why we can't get it? Because nature people are protecting this plant.
Mhm.
And it's not even a plant, it's a freaking weed. It looks exactly like a dandelion.
Yeah.
I'm like, if y'all don't pull that fucking weed and get that shit out of here, you know what I'm saying? Get that
Yeah.
stuff out of here, bro. Try and plant that somewhere else and see if it'll live. But we need this lithium right here so we're not dependent on another country. All right.
Me and Dia had this really good conversation because
Hmm.
Dia being Detroit. I know you in Chi-Town,
Hmm.
right? And for me, it's kind of like, dude, this should have been the evolution, or this can be the evolution for bringing back the big cities and
Hmm.
our industrial strength
What are
for
you
being
talking
part.
about?
If this is like like how you said, the new industrial age, we
Hmm.
already have the infrastructure, dude. This can go straight back to these communities, straight back to these parts of the country
Thank
that
you
are
for
already
saying
built.
that.
Yeah, that are already built for manufacturing, dude. It's not. It's a hop, skip, and a jump. It's just a different type of material. It's just a different science. And people like, look, dude. We did it before. We can do it again. And
Sega
that's why I'm so
forever.
patient.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And I wish I were on that podcast because I said a little bit on Unlimited show about that, but we were going somewhere else. But the thing is, we have there's no way we should have let all of that industry leave this
Yeah.
nation.
Shouldn't have. Yeah.
And what happened was we lost all of that industry. It went somewhere else. And what happens is now they say, oh, but our jobs are up. We have enough jobs. No, a job at Walmart cannot pay someone the money to raise 5 kids.
Yeah.
When I was in the 6th grade, my dad lost a job working for he was a United Auto worker. He was
Right.
making $60,000 a year with overtime back then when I was in the 6th grade. I'm
Right.
57. Okay. So you don't have those jobs where you can walk out of high school
Mhm.
and walk into a auto plant and make this amount of money. All right. There's nowhere like that. They're gone. Bring those things back.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. You know what I mean? So, and like they say, oh, well, we don't have the people, the engineers to make Apple phones. If y'all don't shut the fuck up, they act like I don't know industry, international marketing and its industry. Those people that's making those iPhones in China and everywhere else, they don't even have a high school education. Will you shut your dumb ass mouth? They don't even have a high school education, and these jokers are over here working for $5 and $6 an hour. That's why they're all the way over there because labor costs around the world is not our labor costs.
Yeah.
That's the only reason that Apple can take millions of phones, take them to India. They don't get paid as much as we do either.
Yeah.
So settle down with that. That's why Levi's left the entire country. Budweiser left the entire country. Okay. So man, that's all it was. It's just, the rich got richer and it took away the middle class.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that I got out of construction. These people, they don't pay you your worth. So I'm just fortunate that I'm a marketing grad and I know the stock market. Now I don't have a boss. Now I don't have to listen to bullshit,
And
you
that's what a
know?
lot of people are doing. It's interesting to me because it's happening in China, right? They move mountains to bring that industry over there. And but like you said, cheap labor, not the same regulations, no unions, right?
Yep.
And so the sad thing about it, right?
And it's a communist country. You're running a
Yeah.
dictatorship.
But the sad thing about it was people, they're their lifestyle improved over there in China for the
Y-
average person. And
Yeah,
so,
it's not the average person. They're actually below average, but it becomes an average because there's so many
oh
of
yeah, yeah.
them.
So that's what I was trying to explain to my kids, right? I was like,
Yeah,
look, we can't compete with them because if you're living on 10 cent and somebody give you 25, you think you're living large.
that's comfortable to you.
Yeah, that's comfortable.
Hey, I don't know if you should remember this, but you remember how people were hating on Jordan, saying that kids are making your shoes.
Yeah,
Okay, now they made those shoes well because, hey man, we wore them to death. All right, but here's the thing, Sega
yeah.
Fabra. Kids were making shoes, or teenagers were making those Jordans, but the kids that were at those shops made more money than their politicians. And it's still not close to the wages we make here in the United States. Okay. So
Yeah.
they were getting paid over there for their culture. So of course, you're telling your kids the correct thing. You can't compete with that when, at the car wash over here, kids get paid $15 an hour at a car wash. Okay.
Mhm.
At a damn car wash. And that's our currency. Nobody is making $15 a year over there and $15 an hour in China putting iPhones together.
Well, that's
Maybe
the thing, right? Now they're suffering, not suffering, but I call it a pendulum swing, right? So what we were doing here is now affecting them because their way of life, their way of living improved, and then it started improving exponentially, right?
hmm
And then they got a middle class, and now they have a high class. But now
hmm
their middle class is getting gutted out because the cost of producing things in China has increased, even though it's cheap. People consider it cheaper,
hmm
but it's increased, and so people started going to Vietnam and
hmm
Southeast
And, and,
Asia.
and and
Yeah,
I don't want to diminish God's people,
yeah,
because they were created too. Their labor may be cheap, but these people work. They do have a skill.
yeah.
So it's not like, you're getting a bunch of lazy people. You're getting a bunch of people that's form fitted, and we're going to work for this. Even though it's not enough money, I'm going to work for my family anyway. You know what I mean? And they do a good job at it. They make some great handbags over there. They make some great shoes over there. Now, some of the like people are trying to pub up this BYD car that's competing against Tesla in
Yeah,
China.
that's not good.
It's Sega forever. Trust
Yeah.
me. The cars, they have a lot of amenities, but they're cheap. This one lady did a true report on one
Mhm.
of them, and like you probably remember this one auto commercial, and they rolled a marble down the seam of the hood and the front
Oh
quarter
yeah, yeah,
panel.
yeah, yeah,
She said the lines are off.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the lines, they
Yeah,
have batteries that explode all the
yes,
time, but they don't talk that don't hit the news because they control everything, you
right.
know.
So then, so they have the people there. So that's the people I watch, right? And the
hmm
consistency is not there. And the reason why is if it's one thing, because they've had decades, at least 2 decades,
hmm
to perfect the skill level. It's almost like a video game, brother. Like if you play an RPG, right, and then you get a skill, like,
hmm
and you're a crafter in the RPG, but you have
hmm
to level up your skill to
hmm
make other stuff. Like you can start off with an iron axe, but if you want to make steel, right, you got to level up that skill. So
Facts.
they were able to level up the skill when it came to like kind of like the lower or standard. But
hmm
when you're making stuff that's like you said, when you're making electric vehicles, right? And you have to make the batteries and all the components from it,
hmm
and you got to
hmm
understand the materials, and
hmm
that's why they're having problems, right? Because that's the next level that they need to reach,
hmm
and
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 it's not easy, and a
it's
lot
not
of
easy.
those things can be manufactured quickly. Sometimes a lot of times they have to cure,
Well, you know
or
what it
you're
is. You want me to tell you what their problem is, Zing? And I see it all the time. Is they don't like to fail,
yeah,
and you have to fail. You
yeah,
have to make mistakes. That's how you learn, and they
yeah.
do not like that in their culture at all. They do
Yeah,
not.
well, they know failure is imminent, but when you're working with these new materials,
Mhm.
there's a cure. It's like concrete. Concrete actually cures in 30 days,
Mhm.
not in 30 minutes, 30 hours, no, 30 days. And when you don't let these minerals cure, sometimes they become explosive. because they aren't ready yet. And I found out things like that when my son was going to pharmacy, and the professor brought up uh, nuclear pharmacy. I'm like, what did she
Mm-hmm.
just say?
Yeah,
you know and then and I'm sitting there, and I asked the question. I didn't know, no one knew, but people sitting there like they know. No, no, nigga, you don't know shit. So she explained it. She's like, well, there's a certain time limit you have to make this cure. So these uh, nuclear pharmacists, they have only like a 3 hour
mhm,
period
yeah.
to make this right. And that 3 hour period comes at like 1 in the morning. And yeah, they only work for 3 hours, but you getting paid $400,000 a year for this 3 hours, because it's so time sensitive. And of course, something can go wrong, you
And I
know.
think that's what people need to realize, like, because my ex was a pharmacist, right?
Mhm.
And was a pharmacist,
Yeah,
and
I didn't know that there were different types of pharmacy
yes,
like that. We're thinking only medicine. No, and the pharmacist is really smarter than the doctor. They
yeah,
know what all of these medicines are for, but I didn't know that it went out to live wires territory where you had to be some damn physicist or some stupid shit
yeah, like
to
chemistry,
yeah,
a lot of
your chemistry is
biochemistry.
elite up there. So but
So the
yeah,
thing
but go
with
ahead.
yeah, the thing with a pharmacist is the pharmacist is because for a doctor just writes the prescription. The pharmacist has to know about the drug as well
Hmm.
as the condition, because
Hmm.
sometimes doctors make mistakes, and so the
Hmm.
pharmacist has to be able to keep it. Because one of the reasons pharmacists get paid a lot of money is if you lose your license, that's it. You
Hmm.
went to like 4 years or 8 years of college, right, to get your
Yes,
degree.
it's
You passed
six
the exam
years at Purdue.
at Purdue.
Yeah.
I know my significant other went to USC. And
Okay.
so what it is that once you make one mistake, bro, you can lose your license and your whole career went down the drain.
Mhm.
You know,
And
and
it's
it's not
hard, man.
yeah, it's hard. I mean, you're
It's
pretty
hard,
much and then it's kind of a it's a community of people that know each other, right?
hmm
So everybody knows everybody, and all the businesses know everybody, and so
and it's small. And
it's
and 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 the thing is, it's so hard to get into Purdue. At the time my son was there, it was the second best pharmacy program in the world,
yeah.
and it's it's very very intricate. And I didn't know how hard it was. I think it's the hardest subject any freshman can engage in. After seeing it firsthand, I think it's damn near the toughest
Well,
out
you
of
have to have like a.
everything.
I know one good thing about it is like having a good memory is pretty much paramount.
Oh well, everyone at that level. You're a doctor. Your memory have to be ace. I mean,
I mean,
you a
just for the
pharmacist. You're a physicist. Your memory is high level.
yeah.
Those are high level people um, that go through the rigors of that.
But I
And
mean,
when you
yeah. But to
go
your
ahead,
point, sorry, just real quick to your point earlier, because I do want to say this because and this
go
is
ahead.
why I feel like the pendulum has to come back this way when it comes to
100%.
manufacturing, because at the end of the day, dude, these people like what they're doing in China is just shifting again, right? That these businesses, and I'm like, no, it has to shift back here because eventually, I know that what they're finding out is when the rest of the world, when their way of living, cost of living and stuff, all that stuff comes better, which is good, right? It won't matter. That won't be a factor. And the bad thing about it with our country, we're losing that, right?
Hmm.
You know, like that's what you see a lot of people talking about right now. You send these kids to
100%.
universities, and they're told like my daughter, like they were trying to tell my daughter, hey, you know, you need to be in STEM, but she's an artist, right? She
Hmm.
wants to do
Mine
art,
is too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so what it is like, okay, I can see the benefits of doing that, but again, you know, it's just like not everybody can do that. And you
Hmm.
don't want a society of people that are just one thing. You want a society of people that are varied and that you have to find out where each of these people are. And look, me and you grew up old school, Zing. So hey, you're not gonna you don't get everything that you want, right?
Hmm.
That's just the way life is. But if you can plug people into where they are and where they can be successful, that's what you really want. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so that's why when I look at this and I'm like, dude, this bring this stuff back. That's what me and Dave was talking about. This bring this stuff back. And then some people will tell me they'd argue with me. So because of course they asked me what kind of car I drive, right? And I said,
Hmm.
okay, I drive a Honda.
Hmm.
And then they asked me, and they oh, see, you don't even support. And I'm like, well, there's reasons I drive a Honda, right? But if my only choice was to get an American car, I would have no problem buying an American car.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because
But
the American market is not just one thing, dude. There is a lot of variety within our own market because
mhm.
our market is so huge.
And I'm exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
If if I have two kids.
Right.
If one of those niggas asked me for a foreign car, I'd disown both of my kids.
Yeah.
It's a package deal. I'll disown
Right.
both of them. If my cars, if the engineer, I know cars are made abroad,
Yeah.
but if that engineering doesn't come from a parent company within Detroit,
Hmm.
I'm not buying it. It's not happening. I just bought my daughter, well, I bought it for her last August, 25 Equinox loaded. That's the baddest car on the planet, dude. And it's car group. I mean, you could get into a Honda CRV. The
Yeah.
interior is nothing compared to that Equinox. You get into the RAV4, it's nothing compared to that Equinox. The engines in those two cars are a little bit faster. The stereo is a little bit better. But the overall package, I'm taking that Equinox all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Well, that's
You
why,
know?
like for me, like it would be great because where I live, the state I live in, like
Mhm.
if American becomes the forerunner, American vehicles, then the state itself has to change. You feel me?
What automakers are in Hawaii?
Right now, the biggest is Honda and Toyota.
Honda and Toyota.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have like American cars and stuff like that, but everybody goes with Honda and Toyota. And then of
Mhm,
course, when you have issues with your cars, you know, because everything we have here, bro, most of it's shipped in,
mhm,
so it's just
mhm.
easier to get a Honda part.
Everything is shipped in
Yeah,
when it comes to Hawaii. That's why you
yeah,
guys are so expensive.
yeah.
Everything. When we went over there, you could get a meal. You could get two meals at McDonald's for, let's say, like $12 when
Hmm.
my girlfriend and I were in college. We went to Hawaii, bro. One of our meals was $12,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
however it was, whatever it was. It was double what we normally get. But
yeah, yeah.
we damn near in a foreign country because everything is shipped in. You know,
Actually,
so
I worked for Domino's for a little bit,
mhm,
and people were shocked when they would come in to order pizza. A lot of tourists,
mhm,
so they were staying on the west side of the island. And that's where I lived, and that's where I worked. There was a Domino's
mhm,
there I worked at,
mhm.
and the look on their faces when they came in, and they're like, "Oh." But I would say, "Oh yeah," when they say they wanted to buy pizza, I was like, "Oh, the average, like if you want to get two topping, $19," and their jaws would drop, and they were like, "No,
Wait
no,
a
no, no,
minute. Hold
I
on.
just
Wait. $19 for a Domino's pizza, bro.
19.99 two topping,
For one.
one two topping, yeah." And so
Yeah.
their jaws would drop because they're like, "Oh no, no, I don't want two pizzas, or I don't want three pizzas, depending on where you're from. I just want one pizza." And I'm like, "Oh yes,
Facts.
that's how much it is, one pizza."
That's right.
And he goes, are you kidding me? I said,
No.
and I'm like, like where I'm from, I
Yeah.
just one guy was from Colorado. He goes, "Yeah, I could get a large two topping for 9.99."
Yeah,
And I was
that's because you in Colorado, bro.
yeah, that's
They
what I
don't
thought.
have they don't
Yeah,
have to ship your shit across the Pacific, okay? In the middle of the ocean, there's nothing around
well,
Hawaii.
let
You
me
could
tell you.
glance at a world map, you can't even see Hawaii. It's nothing there.
Well, let me tell you this: the more extra thing about this is Domino's in Hawaii. At the time I was working for them, was not owned by Domino's proper. They were owned by Higa Industries, which is a Japanese company. And
Mhm,
so everything Higa made, they had to make like Domino's specifications. So, and Domino's was pretty big here, so they had a commissary actually on island. But
mhm.
everything you had to use was from the Domino's company, so they
Yeah,
had to
yeah,
pay.
it's franchise.
It's a franchise, yeah.
You have to adhere to the corporation.
Dude,
That's why.
my boss dude would get ulcers over cheese. Plus the cost of the cheese cost plus food cost is the thing, and the cost of the cheese, man. So what she did, bro, she's like we had a spreader, and she would not let people. She would train people, and you were the only ones that were allowed to spread the cheese.
Because you don't want to waste anything. You can't
Yeah,
waste any product. Yeah,
dude,
but
that
see,
cheese cost
people, my girlfriend and I, we understood it. We were business majors.
yeah,
We understand. The price of a product and where its origins. We understand. You're not growing most of your stuff there. You don't have industry there. So
yeah,
we understand that, and in industry you have is minimal, and what the plants you have are assembly plants. The parts get shipped in, and the parts is the entire vehicle. You're just assembling the vehicle in Hawaii, and a plant in Hawaii, and call it American. But that's the way things are. That's why they want the parts to be made here also, because the
Yeah, they should do
parts,
everything. Yeah, they should make everything here.
yeah,
I'm
the
I'm
parts,
100% on board, bro. Zeke, come on. I've been
yeah.
this way for a long time because I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I grew up on the East Coast, dude, and I saw that. Dude, I saw like I lived in Florida, dude. I've seen people move from other states. It was so bad, right? Like how you said, dude. Whole industries just disappeared. Towns were just folding up, and people needed to survive, and they would move to other states,
This
right?
is a fact, and that's what happened to Pittsburgh. It
Yeah,
was a steel. That's why the Steeler emblem was because of the steel company that was there.
they had to
You
get
know,
permission from the steel industry to use that.
what's that?
They had to get permission from the Steel Association.
It was the Steelers, bro, and it was a good promotion, but
Yeah.
you lose major industry, and I I I, I I wrote about this over 3 decades ago. It was my graduating thesis, the
Mhm.
auto industry. I wrote about how, I think I said it on one of the other shows. I had a brand new Camaro in college. My parents bought me my junior year, and fully loaded in '89. I had 1989 model, fully loaded, T-tops. Even the trunk was electric. You have it click, it'll
Yeah.
close the rest of the way. seventeen
So,
thousand.
dude,
It
I
was
think about
seven.
those old cars, bro. So innovative. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. $17,000.
Yeah.
Okay, I got, I think, $4,000 off because I was a student. So, but anyway, without out that is $17,000. That same car, due to tariffs, was $36,000 in Japan.
Yeah.
$36,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So why? And then a minivan that costs $12,000 in Japan, when it came here, it was 11,500. Why? You know what I mean? So,
Oh yeah.
dude, I wrote that when I graduated. Like I said, that was my graduating thesis, 35 pages type, and then we had to present it in under 5 minutes. When I told the kids that, man, everybody was shocked. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just don't know. We let everyone get over on us because we're the world's largest consumer market. Period. Nothing is even close. Two-thirds of all goods and services sold through to the actual consumer
Mm.
comes from the walls of the United States of America. We don't even need another nation because
Yeah.
23% of our profits come from outside of the country. That's still almost a B average. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to come here. We're an open market. We're not communist. You're free to buy whatever you want if you could afford it. And we're the only ones that can buy your products because we make enough money here. And the problem that they have over there in Europe, they restrict everything.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, innovators can't even innovate. Just like that idiot Gavin Newsom over there in California was trying to regulate AI. Bitch, we don't even know what it could do yet.
Yeah.
So how are you gonna regulate something that we're experimenting on? You already want to stop it.
There was people telling him, "Hey, you should watch Terminator."
Yeah, idiot. Get this clown out of here, man. This dude crazy. Yeah, you got me in full trouble, man. Because I should have been gone a long time ago.
Oh, my
But
bad.
that's all right. That's all right. But yeah, man, I always want to talk about things like that, man. And people forget their history.
Yeah.
It
It's
this country was built on shipping because
yeah.
immigrants came over here,
Yeah.
slaves were forced to come over here, Native American Indians were already here. Christopher Columbus never stepped foot on North American soil. That was fake. He never made it here. That's
Mhm.
why they stopped having Columbus Day, because his ass didn't even make it here. Amerigo Vespucci discovered America, bro. So
You
it
know what my
also,
first biography was on?
who, what?
Um, oh no, my first oral.
Mhm.
Ponce de Leon. For the Fountain of Youth. Yeah, I still remember that, dude. That was interesting to me. That's why I was like, oh, dude, this dude came over here in search of something, right? He didn't find it, but then that's what he's remembered the most for. You know what I
Hey,
mean?
hey, man, it's a lot of surprises here. Like, it started with shipping and Cornelius Vanderbilt. He sold all of that and got in the trains. And from the trains, you go from there. You had Rockefeller, and people think Rockefeller is big for his oil. No, it was kerosene.
Mm.
And then Edison and these guys, Edison came up with the light. Uh, th- uh, Rockefeller's like, I got to do away with this shit. And there was this runoff from kerosene that was polluting rivers and things of that nature, just polluting the land. And then Rockefeller's like, hey, find out what we can use this for. It just so happened to be gasoline. You find gasoline by a damn mistake, and now boom, Rockefeller is Rockefeller. You refine oil to get the kerosene to light everyone's homes. Then you finally get trained. This is the part that history always repeats itself.
Yeah, yeah,
And Phil Spencer said out loud what all of us already knew, that there's a certain ceiling of people that buy video games
hmm
every new console. It's only a ceiling. So that ceiling came to 50 million people are going to buy each one of these consoles. How do we get more gamers? Rockefeller said the same thing. I'm supplying everybody over here in the East with my kerosene. I need to supply the West with my kerosene. So now you're shipping abroad because you maximize your territory here. So now Xbox is putting games on PlayStation and making an additional 70% profit by broadening the scope. Rockefeller went from the East Coast to the West Coast with this kerosene. Now he goes from the East Coast to the West Coast with his oil and his gasoline, and he's the richest guy that we know of outside of a couple of those warlords like Massa Musa and maybe a couple others. Rockefeller is the richest,
yeah.
you
That's crazy,
know.
man.
But you do all of these things, but history tells you, like, who is it, Carnegie
Yeah,
built the first bridge to cross Mississippi that was big enough and used not iron but steel because it was strong enough to withstand the Mississippi current, to put a train on so they wouldn't have to bring the train up, put the oil on the ferry or the kerosene on the ferry or the goods and services on the ferry, and then put them on another train, and you go on about your business on the western side of the country.
yeah. You know
Carnegie.
what they always says, bro? Necessity is the mother of invention. That's why I like studying stuff like that, right? Because you see it, like you just explained. You know.
Yeah, you can't forget industry like that. And it's like, even if you don't want to go as deep as Carnegie and making the bridge, because like 1 out of 4 of the bridges failed or something like that,
Mm.
and 1 out of 5 or something like that, until they started building these bridges with steel, not iron, because steel was a lot stronger. So then you switch to Ford. He finally created. He finally stopped being bullshitted. Owned Ford after his third try, and started making cars for the masses. And realized, hey, I need to make the to you know I made enough cars over here in this country. Now let's put some plants overseas now. So now he has plants all over the place now.
Yeah.
You expand your reach. Once you maximize this ceiling right here, you move over. That's the way history is always going to repeat itself. That's why Nvidia, yeah, it was started here, but now they're being sold all over the world. And China was the last stop because they're communist. And we don't want them to have too much power, and rightfully so, because you're already powerful enough. So we don't want you to get crazy and have these powerful GPUs and beat us at our own game because we have something for you if you act stupid, you know.
Yeah.
So we don't want you to have what we have. That's why they're not going to get this thing that you haven't heard of, this Blackwell chip. And then that's already um, another chip is already going to replace that. Um, and then after that, Ruben is coming. They have chips all the way sold out to 2028,
Hmm. Hmm.
you know, and we still in 2025. So, but
Yeah.
it's you
It's
can't
like
forget.
almost like that new arms race, but with technology. It's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
be.
Oh, it's you said it right. It is an arms race,
Yeah.
but with technology, it's 100. That's 100% fact.
Oh
But
yeah.
it's but people forget these things, but Microsoft doesn't. That's why Microsoft is going to be here. They're always innovating. Always. It's never. It's don't stop with Microsoft. So people could hate on it all they want. And Hargeet is right a lot, but he was wrong with this one. He said
So what did you?
Microsoft, that's what I was saying about Microsoft stock going up. He said, well, Sony stock is going up too. Actually, it's not. It's getting back to the same because it's at the same price as it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Finally, it
Sony,
is.
I noticed like their stuff will bump every once in a while, but
Mhm.
isn't it directly into what they're doing? So, like their animation studio right now is killing it, right? But they're not the same company like they were, dude. There
They
was a
don't
time
have it.
where oh,
They
go
don't
ahead.
have any engineers anymore. That's why they're
Yeah,
not the same company. They
yeah,
used to have some dominant engineers over there, but they don't. But yeah, Hargeet is technically right because their stock did go up from being down for so long. But Microsoft, if you back it out and look at a 5 or 10 year chart, you're gonna
it's
see a
crazy.
yeah, you're gonna see a
It's
steady
crazy.
hill climb.
Yeah,
But with Sony, you're gonna see this massive crater right here,
yeah.
and then now they just getting back to where they were, but they're not doing anything special over there.
I mean,
That
dude,
that
it
they're
is
not doing that.
scary though, right? Tim? It's a little bit scary. Um,
What's scary?
Microsoft, right?
Oh yeah,
That's
it's
what I was.
terrifying.
That's what I said in my last video because people were like, they just canceled. They just canceled. What's that game they canceled with the girl? Perfect Dark. Aren't you? They
That
just
hurt,
canceled.
bro. That
I,
hurt.
I know, I know. But then my viewpoint was like, I don't know. I think it's scary that they can, because people were like, look, they put this much money, they spent this much time, they did A, B, C, D, and then they just canceled it. And I was like, to
Yeah,
me, that's scary that they can do that.
that is scary. And,
Yeah.
it's sad for us that
Yes. Yeah.
but it's we just being realistic here. I
Yeah.
like Perfect Dark. That was the Perfect Dark Zero had some of the best campaign co-op ever because it forced you to split up and still work as a team. It was unbelievable. But a lot of people didn't play it because they, like anything, they always hate on something Microsoft, so they missed a good game. Just like Redfall, they missed a great, suspenseful, single player game. That game was fantastic, and it did things that games don't do today that everyone was asking for a game to do. Like go through a whole scenario without cutscenes or without loading. You could walk into a building, close the door, go downstairs, go through rooms, go upstairs through rooms, go to another part of the building through rooms, walk back outside, and the game never loaded. Never
Mm.
loads one time.
Yeah.
Seamless play, you know, and I mean, shoot someone through a window, climb through a window, just unbelievable. Everybody missed it. A lot of people missed it
Mm.
because you listen to ACG and his tired, cheap ass, and everybody started hating the game because he broke embargo and said this is the worst game I ever played. Well, that's because you started playing it on a PC that the game wasn't made for, and all PCs are different because everybody, they'll have a different fan or a different power supply. Some cheap ass people use a box fan to blow on their PC to cool that big ass thing. So it's not going to work right. But our consoles work fine. Out of 260 hours of Redfall, I had 6 glitches, 6, where a vampire didn't move, or a vampire disappeared, or something like that happened 6 times out of 260 hours of playing the game. Yeah. a lot of people missed a good game. I'm glad Matt Booty said in front of Jeff Grubb, Redfall made its money. Oh, and the studio split up, and Microsoft still let them finish the game.
Yeah.
You tell me Sony wouldn't have canceled that damn game? Know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, it's just
That's
a
why I
lot
try
of
to
things.
explain to people is like, Microsoft is on another level when it
Hmm.
comes to what. That's why I don't like to say profit or loss. I like to say milestones, right?
Hmm.
Because to me, like a company like Microsoft, like you can make like $10 million or something, but where like they look at it more than just the bottom line, right? They look,
Oh,
okay,
way more than the bottom line. Oh yeah,
right,
I'm glad you brought that back up
yeah,
because I wanted to get back to this.
oh yeah, good,
The part that I don't like about layoffs.
mhm,
All of the big companies do it
right,
at the end, at the fiscal year end, and sometimes before.
yeah,
They'll do things like this, and it's for the shareholders. They get a higher rating, their stock goes up every single time.
mhm.
And yes, I'm a beneficiary of stock going up when they had those layoffs. It's the part that I don't like. And yeah, you could say that that part is greed, but Microsoft also hired more people than anyone too.
I
And
think
still,
I think they thought that things were going to get better.
who, Microsoft?
Well, just all businesses actually,
Oh
right?
no, no, man, things couldn't be better at Microsoft.
I
Hey,
mean, just across the board.
check this out. This is how great things are for. And I'm sure you know they call the Magnificent Seven. Okay, uh,
Yes, yes.
M-
Sorry.
Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta,
Yeah,
uh, Tesla is in there. I'm forgetting two. I'll think of them soon.
Apple.
Apple,
Yeah.
and we missing one, but I'll think of them later. But anyway, Meta, which is Zuckerberg's company,
Mhm.
they had huge layoffs,
Yeah.
but then you see how they're hiring these AI genius guys for like $100 million for one person.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Bro, they, Sega Family, they stole this great Apple guy from Apple, and he's getting, I forget what his package is, but
Oh, so he's like that level of
it's a north of $100 million, and
yeah,
he's making some big, super huge, uh, next level AI race. He wants to. Zuckerberg went out, and they stopped Zuckerberg from buying companies. So he was like, okay, we just gonna spend this money that we were gonna use to purchase companies on the people that make those companies great. Man, he stole from everybody except from Microsoft and from Tesla. He, he took people from everywhere, and he's paying them way more than he would pay 10,000 people that he fired, you
yeah.
know?
That's why these guys snip at each other all
Hmm.
the time on social media.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy, man. But that's to let you know. Yeah, of course, I'm aware that they're making money, but this is just that's the bad part of the business when they have all of these layoffs. And yeah, I know what happens. Who has it not happened to? You
Yeah,
know,
it's happening to everybody. That's what Zink. I'll be honest with you. That's what ticks me off. It's not that people will be like, "Oh, you're an Xbox fanboy. You just don't want to hear the truth." I'm like, no, but you guys ain't telling the whole truth. Like
thank you.
this is happening across. This is happening everywhere, dude. It's like all you guys. Like you wake up in the morning, you just look at Microsoft. Dude, I wake up in the morning and I gotta go buy groceries. I wake up in the morning at the end, and then I go to work, right? And then when I come home, I gotta open up my mailbox. Then there are bills in there. So
Mhm,
I experience it like 24/7, right?
mhm. Yeah, and dude, I don't like it when nobody lose their job. I see a lady that's the president of her company. Dude, we sometimes we have it out when she's going to fire one of her employees. I'm like, that's the wrong thing to do because they didn't do that. And I told her I know her business too, better than her. But I don't like people to get fired, especially if they're not. It doesn't warrant them being fired. That was someone else, because she told me everything. So yeah, we have it out, and I saved some people's job, and then some people that. You know, you can't save their job, but I care about everyone's job, especially if you do the work. Now, if you lazy as hell and you're not doing the work, or like this, the people that want to talk after they get fired, I'm like, yeah, you'll never get hired again, and that's why they fired you in the first place.
Yeah, that's a
Because
bad. Know
you
everything.
one of those people
Yeah.
that they won't. Hey, and you see, Microsoft said, hey, for a lot of you, you can work somewhere else within Microsoft. But people that's running their mouth, no, you out of here, bro. You ain't never coming back.
Well, look at some of the people that they talk to when it comes to these controversies, quote unquote, right? And then you
Mhm.
find out this dude was a contractor. He didn't work on.
Tool man, what's up, bro? But
Yeah,
go
what's up,
ahead.
man? What's up, my brother? You know what I'm saying? So these guys are, and nobody does the deep dive, right? There's just
Hmm.
what's on the surface. And but one of the good things I did see that was coming out was like, okay, so you're gonna do AI, but who's gonna be able to use it? Who's gonna buy the stuff that you're creating? Right? That's another conversation that needs to be had.
Let's talk about a little bit of it. I talked about a
Yeah,
little bit of it on 100 show.
yeah.
The little time I was there, I think, or it was Ray Ray. I'm not sure, but at any rate, here's
Mhm,
the thing: Sega Forever, listen.
mhm.
Who's crying about the the guys that drove the horse and the carriage to get people from A to B before Ford made the cars? Who? Who's crying about them losing their job?
Oh yeah, they love it.
Let's keep it primitive. Who's crying about the women that were on roller skates doing a switchboard to connect people with their phones? Who's crying for them? Hey, Sega Fever, you and I graduated high school and college with the Encyclopedia Britannica. Hey, could you tell me where are they at?
They
Where
are
are they?
online.
Okay, they ain't make it. Hey, what about the people that made those books, man? Huh? What about them? Who's crying for their job?
Mhm.
You follow me? The world changes. The world is going to change for my daughter and your daughter. My daughter
Mhm.
is in the Heron School of Art at
Oh,
Indiana
nice,
University. Okay.
nice. Yeah.
Hey, her job is already obsolete due to AI. So
Mhm.
what did Others Inc. do? I bought her a brand new iPhone for when Apple get their act together, she'll be ready for AI. When I'm going to buy her a new computer, I hope Apple has their act together so she'll be able to work with learn AI, learn how to use it with all of her work this fall. And I know it's going to cost me a pretty penny, but so what? My life is over. It's her time now. You know, it's my son's time now. They have to get their game going. So they have to use AI in conjunction with what they're studying to make their own way. And if they're not ready, you're going to be in the stock market with your dad and you're going to learn the way to really make the money.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But I want them to do their thing first, you know. But that's the thing, though, man. I mean, you have to lead, follow, or get out of the way. If you're not ready to adapt, yeah, the world will pass you by. You know, and I think of everything as relative. It's just like once upon a time, George Mikan was great, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
people at the park that would destroy George Mikan.
Yeah.
Okay. Bob Cousy was dribbling with one hand. There's no way Bob Cousy could bring the basketball up the floor on the guy that I played in high school with. No way. That ball would always be taken. There's no way. But I mean, things change, man, and you just gonna have to adapt to it. You can't cry about people used to ride the trains. Then they thought they still ride the train, but you have airplanes, you have various modes of transportation. You know, we have computers now to make everything easy. Now AI is just making things easier. And just like Forza, my favorite game, my favorite sport, actually my favorite sport is NASCAR. And I have to hear E-Rock's mouth because I'm a black guy that like NASCAR, so I have to listen to his shit. But you know, to make four,
Me and you is the only two in the group that like NASCAR, bro.
hey man, hey dude, if I don't see the NASCAR race Sunday live, I will watch that shit later on in the week, right? But to make a track in Forza take a team over a year. Now you're going to have one guy create that track better in 15 minutes.
Hmm.
You know, once everything is put in, it's that's just the way it's going to be. Things are going to be made a little bit quicker now. It's nothing you could do to stop it. It's
So
Hey,
what did you
hey,
think
hey,
about
hey, how about this? How about this? What about the TV repairman at Sears when Sears was here, repairing those big ass tube TVs? Now that it took two guys and Bible Samson to carry into your house, they were so
Oh,
heavy.
I remember the two
It's
cathode tubes.
fact.
Yeah.
This is facts. Now we could carry a 55-inch under our arm and walk wherever we want to walk, and have a better TV. So what about that? You know what I mean? Technology changes, bro. It's just that simple, you know.
Let's see. Can you
And
access?
like you and Dia were talking about without me, um, the auto industry,
Hmm.
dude. My father could walk out of walk into the auto plant, no formal education, and learn how to make these cars. You know, and learn how to make these cars, or go into the steel mill and have a great job. Those jobs are gone. When they come back, and there's some smart kids around here. You'll have, and I mean, super smart kids that were honor students in high school that's not able, that are working at Pizza Hut because they can't find anywhere to work. Now, when all of these companies are coming back here, and some new, these smart kids will be able to work at an Apple place or a Hyundai place or a General Motors plant or the Chevy plant, or well, Ford always have a lot of work here, but they'll be able to work at all of these places, when we lost all of this industry, so things change, man. But you know um and it's like I just saw Hebot over here, uh Anthony Chipmunk, my boy. Like Hebot always talks about physical property, physical games, physical movies. Sometimes, we don't have the 8-track tape anymore. I don't know if you had 8-track music in your car back in the day, back in the 70s, but those things gone. We used to have crates and crates of records in college. I mean, just crates of records in college, turntable, all gone. Everything's gone. So man, just too many things change, man. Just have to adapt. And people, they get sad about people losing all of these jobs, but I don't see these people buying all of these games, you know. So, you know, I don't know, man, but it's 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 some people don't like, but they're just gonna have to get used to
I mean, it's gonna happen. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. I
it.
mean, I talked to my daughter about it, right? I mean, because she does
Oh,
art.
I didn't even tell my daughter that how hard it's going to be for her to find it. Like, you would usually work at a place like General Mills, because everywhere in the grocery store, a graphics designer created that what's on
Yeah.
that can. McDonald's had a place, people were just designing Happy Meal boxes. You know, so yeah, AI is going to take a lot of that away, 100%. But go ahead.
No, no, no. Just the within the community. I was letting her know, hey, you just have to separate yourself because there's a market out there.
Mhm.
That's how
Yeah.
people are thriving right now. So people can
Oh yeah.
thrive on the simple fact that because they're already entrepreneurial. Her and all her friends, they were
Hmm.
kind of forced into that
Oh
uh,
yeah.
because of everything that happened with COVID. So
Oh
they're
yeah.
finding avenues to create and sell their stuff. So
You beat me to it. A lot of people. That's why it's really hard to find people to work, because you forced us to stay at home. Well, just like a human is going to find a way to adapt. If a human is blind, they're going to find their body will adjust and they'll live without their eyesight. If they lose an arm, they'll adjust and they'll live without that arm. You forced us to stay home, they're going to find a way to make a living from the home. And a lot of people did it, myself included, even though I was able to work because they let construction people go ahead with their construction. So I was able to go ahead and, and do my thing, but I saw a better way, you know. So I didn't want to stay dependent on on an owner. So yeah, your daughter and her friends, and that's what my daughter said. She wanted to do her own thing. So I'm like, okay, good. Because you last person you want mistreated is your daughter. So at least I'll be able to live a long life without having to do something to somebody for because they do something to my kid. Hey, Heba, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, guys? What's up? How are you guys?
Hey man, I can't complain. You know how Sega forever is. I should have been gone 40 minutes ago. I had some stuff to do. And my
I see
mother
you.
just and my
I
mother
see you.
just called. But you know how it is when you were younger. Hey, I'm in trouble now, so I might as well stay in trouble.
Yeah,
Right. You can't
Eh,
escape. You ain't gonna escape the food, the pop out anyway.
Yeah,
Anyway, you look at it, you're gonna get that butt whooping.
yeah. So why not? Now that you here, I'm gonna stay an extra 15 minutes or so because I was just about to leave. So I'm gonna hang out. Hey man, what's going on with you? What you got?
Oh, just there, man. Just dealing with some medical stuff, but one day at a time.
Yeah. Hey man, forget that medical stuff. We have enough problems like that. Hey, I was just about to watch one of your shows. You were
Well, thank
talking
you for
about
stopping by. I enjoyed the one you stopped by before. I saw
yeah,
you comment.
I commented on that one, but it was another one that you
Mm-hmm.
made after that,
with with
and
the
it
with
was
the with the media thinking they're CEOs, people out here in the YouTube streets thinking they're CEOs at
yes,
Xbox
yes,
and
and I
digital
said, yeah,
clothing with this fucking bias and their fucking especially Rich let no Rich let better he fucking think he fucking
I
think
think you were about to start talking about uh Christopher Dring, I think. Was that the
yeah
one?
Chris bring fooling
Okay,
the whole
yeah. I said I gotta go, but I'm gonna listen to this later. And I never went back to it. So I'm glad you're here. Now I'm gonna go back to that show. But anyway, so what's going on? What was that show about? Because
well
Sega Forever could talk about anything for 24 hours, his
for
24-hour
24 hours.
show.
Yeah. No, Christopher drink, doing what he does best in Twitter, fooling, talking about that Game Pass is not sustainable,
Oh my
is
goodness
not
gracious.
successful because they only count the third party and not their first party. And he retracted himself because he was corrected and said, "Oh no. What it is that it is profitable because they only count third party. In those numbers, they're not even counting what they make off first party
And
sales or
and
things of
that's
that.
wrong too. And that's
You
wrong
know,
too. You know it's like unlimited production being an account. You'll never know how they account for things, but I can tell you what goes into them. And since our place is so small here, I don't mind saying how Game Pass is profitable. I said it some time before, and people think Game Pass is subsidized by Microsoft. No, and they thought Game Pass started from a deficit. No, it didn't. Game Pass
mhm,
started from a surplus from Halo because Halo made too much damn money. So they were
mhm,
saying, hey, what can we do with this? So they were creating this Game Pass situation. Just like you and I pounded somebody when we said no. Microsoft, our boy that everybody loves to hate, what's the guy's name that took all of the blame for
mhm.
Xbox? What's the dude's name? That was before Phil Spencer that led Xbox
You
before
talking about Don Metrics?
Don. Hey, listen, dude, he started Netflix. He was like, hey,
Mhm,
why don't you put that service over here?
mhm,
These
mhm.
jokers were mailing disc all over the world. Bro, put this right here. Now Netflix,
Xbox for creating an app and you play it right in your console.
now I have stock in Netflix. Okay, so they making money for every damn body, bro. So and they started with a surplus, and what I won't let people forget is that originally when we had to have Hebot with the Xbox, they were going to allow one person to buy a game and share
Mhm,
it with 9 friends.
mhm,
Wh-
mhm,
What? And it's somebody that have multiple kids. All I have to do is buy one game. Are you
mhm,
kidding?
mhm,
So since Ryan McCaffrey and Sega Fava's boy, Destin Legary, did all of that bitching, now all of a sudden they switch it down to sharing between two people, two and three people, and stuff
mhm.
like that. You know, that's ridiculous, dude. We had it good already, but they ruined it. You know,
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
but go ahead, Hebot. I wanted to get
No,
in
no,
there
I
on
was
some
just
stuff.
saying how he always does shit like that, and people fall for it. As soon as he says something stupid, they'll go do 100 videos. Everybody, oh my god, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? Literally, blah 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 blah. And then when he looks stupid, he never corrects himself, and nobody does corrections on the videos. I was like,
Nobody.
you fucking dumbasses. And then you have fucking stupid ass Rich Ledbetter and fucking in Digital Foundry that they supposed to do only videos with tech analysis come out and be like, oh, I don't want Microsoft, all developers stay away from it because all they do is ruin developers. They don't care. They're going to mess them up. They don't know how to nurture them and take care of them. Like, this motherfucker, are you serious? Because of
Hey,
the
look,
layoff,
l-
right?
I,
Because of
I,
the
I,
layoff situation.
hey, just like I'm gonna let you in on this one. Sega Forever and I were talking, and no one wants to ever say the good part. No one ever
Mm-hmm,
wants to say how many people Microsoft hired, how many
mm-hmm,
companies they acquired, and how
mm-hmm,
many companies that they saved from falling apart.
mm-hmm,
Meanwhile, Sony hasn't brought in no one, and the Bungie that they brought in, they killed Bungie. It's not
mm-hmm,
Bungie. You're the leader. You killed Bungie. Bungie made a successful Halo game, then made a great Destiny game, and now all of a sudden they come to you and they can't make a damn thing. They're stealing people's property. Hebot, go
mm-hmm.
ahead, Hebot, do your thing, man.
Like I'm like, how you say some shit like that when you got companies like Obsidian that were on the verge of, bankruptcy,
Hmm.
and they
Oh,
and
oh,
they have
oh,
nothing
let me
but
let you
success.
in on this one too. And I know you remembered, of course, the
Hmm.
team he bought that was in the Ukraine and lost a few people because they had to fight in the war. They went and got them too. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. When they helped them out with Stalker 2, right? They had, Double Fine Studios say clear as day that if it wasn't for them, they would have never been able to do um Psychonauts 2 correctly and make it a bigger, better
This is a
game, better
fact. Yep.
experience.
Hmm.
They said that, they would have never been able to, because that was a Kickstarter game. Remember that.
Hmm. We since Microsoft came in, now we able to add bosses.
The same way that they say we have the people who did we happy few, which was the guys who now did South of Midnight. They were able to jump from Contrast to all the way to South of Midnight and do a game that can be considered one of the game of the year contenders. When they started with something small like Contrast, the same way they say Ninja Theory, they were on the verge of closing because Hellblade didn't do well enough for them. None of their
Hmm.
games did well enough. Hellblade was done with a 20-man team with cameras from Home Depot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the only reason people went out and actually bought it was because they were said it's PlayStation exclusive because they took the bag trying to help themselves stay alive at that point in time, right?
Hmm.
It's like Remedy that all their games fail, but the only reason they keep on being able to contain and sustain themselves because they're a publicly portrayed owned company, meaning multiple companies own them. So they're able to get more finances and help from all those companies put together, and they help them build whatever they're going to build next. But you
Hmm.
see that their games didn't do well, like Control didn't do as well as other stuff, and even Alleyway 2 didn't succeed the way they thought it would, right?
Hey, how
Actually,
about this one?
mhm,
Since you going all crazy, how about these two? How about Hellblade? How pedestrian that was on a PlayStation. PlayStation's like, all right, y'all get out of here. And
mhm.
Microsoft come and take over, they make Hellblade 2. And
Yeah, but
how about Sega Forever's boy that made that one game, that one Planet game that
mhm.
why am I forgetting this name? He,
Or Star,
he was
you talking about P. Highs or
mm-mm, mm-mm.
the guy who
The
did
game
Starfield?
No, the game that's still going on right now. But when it was on the
Oh no,
PlayStation,
no, no! You talking about no
No
man's sky.
Man's Sky. Hey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bro, how about that? Microsoft came
Yeah.
and is like, hey, bro, we're gonna give you a couple dollars, make this game right. And now this
Mhm.
game is a phenomenon. But go
Oh,
ahead,
yeah,
Heba.
you talking about when they put it on Game Pass, right? Right?
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
just kept building on the game now, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But go
yeah.
ahead. You go ahead and do your
It's
thing.
it's a lot. I mean, the playground games. How they established themselves with Forza
Hey,
Horizon and
hey,
what
hey,
they're
how
doing
about this? Because
Fable.
that's my feel. How about this one? Hey, we for turn 10, Dan Greenwald and his boys like, hey man, we looking to do something a little different. They interview a couple companies, they interview playground games. Okay,
Mhm,
how about this playground? We'll make the physics in all of the cars. You give us an incredible world. We're going to show you how to do this on this Forza Tech engine that we created. They come out,
mhm,
make this bomb ass game, several series of the game, and now you're going to use the same engine and make Fable with playground games. Go ahead,
mhm.
Heba, but Xbox ain't shit though.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's so fucking good that it's making the PlayStation community look stupid. It's selling more and better than any other PlayStation game on PS5 right now. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
killing
Which
it.
is
Oh,
crazy.
it's sold more than Sega Man's favorite game, Astrobot. A
Ah,
pack,
which,
a, a
which,
pack, a pack-in game that now all of a sudden you selling for a fee.
well, we,
You
we,
know.
we, we, as we said before, it just proves that, the Gran Turismo series is fucking garbage. Like, you know what I
Oh, you
mean?
talking about the Gran Turismo game that their newest car when they had the game when the game released was a 2018 Camaro, and how
That
they
one,
missing some of the major tracks.
the same one.
Is that what are you talking about? How a game that's supposed to be so powerful and is still not 4K 60 frames per second locked? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one. That's
Okay.
the one.
Are you talking about the one that only have 16 cars on track versus the 24 cars on Forza because you can't handle the RAM? Is that it? Is that the one you're talking about? That
Yeah,
piece of
yeah,
shit?
the one,
Okay.
the
All
one
right.
that
Go
doesn't
ahead,
have
Ebot.
the one that has no damage, the one that has
Oh, you
no
mean to tell me?
real
Oh, so
time
what
weather.
you actually trying to say that when you riding 100 miles an hour and you slam into a tire barrier and the tires don't move in the barrier? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, the one
Oh,
that doesn't
okay.
have no real time weather. No real time weather.
I'm
Remember
just
that.
asking. I'm just asking, Hebot. All right, go ahead, man.
The-
Finish your thing.
It's the same one that doesn't have the real time weather. What's up,
Piece
Homo?
of
How you?
shit.
Um, you know,
Are you
the list
talking
goes
about
on and
the?
on.
Are
We
you
know,
talking
but I
about a
mean,
racing game, Hebot, that don't have NASCAR in it?
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, all right, hey man. I'm just asking. I just want
Yeah,
to know
yeah.
why you're going. That's all. Just want to know.
So it's just proven that the game was so ass. Just like they don't want Xbox game, but they're selling more on their platform, as we always knew. And they're just a bunch of fake haters. They didn't want to give Xbox no credit. They don't want to buy the console, as if the console has some type of like bacteria or some shit. When it's the one with the best ecosystem and the best engineered hardware in it. Anyway, as far as console standards go, you know what I mean?
Hey,
Um,
also, since you talked about that game selling more, here's the Jedi mind trick. I'm glad you came on here because I was gonna say this to Sega forever, but it got lost in us talking about many
Lost
other
in
things.
the
How about this one, Hebot? They keep talking about Helldivers, a
Mhm,
game that didn't sell on the PlayStation. The PC people had to buy that bullshit game with
mhm,
no story, right? Because you
mhm,
know with
mhm.
Xbox, where's the story? Why is the story? Where's the story? Okay, you have this game and they're talk hyping this game up like it's going to be something on the Xbox and we should buy it so we could show Sony that we'll buy their games when this bullshit game is going to drop the same day as a Gears of War game. Like we going to buy this shit and play this shit, but yet Gears launch on the same day. Good luck with that shit. You must be out of your mind.
Well, I mean, Sony has to. Sony just they have no choice. They have to do what they got to do because they need the money. It's, like I said, people when Microsoft put games on Xbox on another platform is because they're just trying to make more money.
It's a
You
luxury,
know?
and that's Sega Forever. And I talked about, hey, it's a luxury, and I equated that to you can't forget your history. Like once Rockefeller reached the plateau where, hey, I sold all of this kerosene to the people on the East Coast. What about the people on the West Coast? So they
Mhm.
started to ship it everywhere, right? So now you have all of the people. Video games have reached the ceiling a long time ago, back in the 80s. It's never going to go over this certain mark, this ceiling. So now you put more games, and also it's more to it than that, because like Sega Forever and I talked earlier about the industries that Microsoft is into right now, and they've gotten so powerful, they have to take over certain things. So they don't want the government to come back in, or people to start complaining that Microsoft is too big. So they're spreading the wealth, keeping Sony alive by giving them 30% on these games, while of course Xbox is getting 70% on a 5-year-old game and Forza Horizon that cost $100 for the premium version. Okay, you gonna pay what we paid back in the day, even though we get it on Game Pass for free. But when you just broaden your scope, now you become more profitable.
Well, that's funny that you say that because this fucking retard from Europe, Foxy Games, whatever game, I
Clown.
don't know if you heard of it. Motherfucker tried to say that the Forza was selling more on on PlayStation than Xbox guys ever bought the game. I'm like, no,
Hey,
you fucking piece of shit. Listen, there's something called early access on Xbox for every game that they release, right?
hmm
Especially the big AAA tempo titles. And all of the games that were in early access, from Redfall, Starfield, and even obviously Forza Horizon, they sold way more copies in the
hmm
5 days before the 10 days before it released on the normal launch, which would be day and date,
hmm
before it came out. And in order to get access to that, there's only two tiers. There's the $30 tier that you can get all the DLC going forward, right?
hmm
Or
Your phone is breaking up, Hebot.
it's the $100 tier, which is the premium one where you get everything. That
Correct. And that
Horizon
started
came
with
out.
that started with Gears back in 2019 when
Oh
Gears
yeah,
came out, Gears
yeah,
5,
for sure.
because the 3.7 million people that bought it a week before it released, we all paid the premium price
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Okay. We
Yeah,
paid the premium price
that's what I'm
to get
saying.
it. And
The
then
same thing happened with
another,
Halo 4, I think it was, Halo 5. Same thing. And
yeah.
even Infinite, when you bought that game,
Yep.
and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, the numbers for Forza Horizon 5, I believe it has sold like almost 12 million copies or 10
Yep,
on
and
early
that's the
access.
one thing I didn't like, because that game was steadily going up. Then they dropped Halo Infinite, then the numbers
Mhm.
sharply decreased.
Yeah,
That was some bad product planning, but then of course you getting close to Christmas time and you wanted both of the games out. And then COVID did have a lot to do with slowing a lot of games down at
oh
that
yeah.
point in time. So they just got forced together. But for that clown talking about it sold more on the PlayStation, that idiot didn't know that
Are
before
you trying
that
to say
game.
physical
But
or copies in general were sold more? I'm like, bro, you
I don't know
have
which
no
one of
fucking
them it
clue.
is. I don't know which one it is, physical or digital or both. But
No, I think it was
before that,
both. I think it was
but
both. But remember that the early access mostly you can only buy digitally
digital,
with the
correct,
$100.
correct. And here's what I wanted to say about when you first started with Foxy. Before that game released on the PlayStation, they already had 45 million players, you damn fool. So what are
45.
you talking?
They have 45 million players.
So what the hell is he? But that's how stupid they are. But we know they stupid. It's nobody smart over there.
Because
But
they're
anyway,
trying to
go
say,
ahead, Eva.
what he's trying to say is that those 45 million players were only playing the game via Game Pass. That they didn't buy. You get what I'm saying?
Hey, Hebot. Here's the thing with that, and here's another thing how we know. Of course, we know PlayStation is stupid, but anyway, here's the thing with those games. They have microtransactions,
Mm-hmm.
and all of us. have the extra things that everyone is paid extra for. And even if you didn't buy the game and you had it on game, I buy all of the Forzas, all the Gears, all of the Halos. And I spent so much money on a game, they started giving me Gears things for free. Truth, they start giving me stuff. Here I am ready to buy it. It's like, no, this is already in your queue, you know. So, but with that being said, this is one of the things that we talk about all the time, and they told you on a Halo documentary. But of course, the PlayStation people don't see it because they're too stupid. Ballmer said, "What are your reserves for returns?" All that is a fancier way of saying reoccurring profits. The game makes money after point of sale. That's where Sony fails at. Their games make money one time and one time only. Meanwhile, Forza Horizon 5 has been making money since the game released, and it's not going to stop. It's just not.
But brother, get this. If that was the case, right? Which is funny. If he's trying to
Hilarious.
argue that they're playing it via Game Pass, right?
Hmm.
So that means that completely cuts the argument of that there's only 35 or 34 million people that have Game
Thank
Pass.
you, Hebot.
Because that means there's 45 million people still concurrently playing it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Which still, even if they play it through Game Pass, they're making more money because in order to have access to the game and keep playing it, you got to pay every month. So everybody that's playing, those 45 million people are all spending $180 a year,
Hey, thanks,
which
Hebot.
more money. It won't be more money than you would if you sold 45 million copies at 75, splitting it three ways at 30% for everybody.
This is a fact.
You see what
And
I'm
it
saying?
and Hebot, and they're so stupid, they don't know that to a lesser point, Netflix does the same thing. Everyone pays a subscription. They're making way more money for their subscription than they are for if they release just one movie and just walked away. No, you
Mhm.
get people paying every single month for Netflix, every single month.
Yeah,
They have
yeah,
you under contract, and Sony can't figure that out.
yeah. They don't understand that they'll make more money by putting in a subscription service. They don't get
But
it.
but
It's
the
like
but the reason.
I was telling my son this morning, right? Not to cut you off. I was telling my
Go
son,
ahead.
you look, and you could do the math right now in a calculator, pull it out, the both of you. Microsoft has, let's say them having 45 million people active on Game Pass. What I mean by active is that they're every month, every year subscribing, right? Even if you do the $15 tier, right? If you do the $15 tier at $15 a month, 45 million subscribers at 12 months in 1 year, right? For 12 months. That is $8.6 billion, right? If you do the $20 a month, that's a whopping $10.8 billion a month. Now, here's the kicker. This is what I want you guys to see, where it's even more mind-boggling. Sony and Nintendo both can make 10 exclusives in 1 year. 10. Each exclusive could sell 10 million copies. And each exclusive that sells 10 million copies can be sold at $75 each. And it still doesn't match the 8.6 billion.
And here's the thing, Hebot. All of those numbers are 100% facts. And
Mhm.
here's the main reason Sony cannot do that is because they don't have the wherewithal to put that money back or to keep an
Yeah, 'cause they don't
engine of money going
have
because
current
they don't.
income. Yeah, like you always say, they don't
Yeah,
have
they
that
don't. They
current
don't.
income they do with Xbox, with Minecraft, shit like,
This is a fact.
Halo.
They have a series of games that keep feeding the engine. Sony don't
Absolutely.
have that. And while everyone on Sony side and the media are foolishly saying we don't need games as a service, that's because you're stupid. Because the games as a service keeps replenishing. It's like Niagara Falls, bro. You see that water coming down all the time. You know, they keep making money all the time. When the lights go out and you go to sleep, they're still making money. They have a series of games that can, hey, like our boy Ramo that come on here. I told one time we were on the show, Unlimited show, and I said, man, he even probably spent about $400 or $500 on Flight Simulator. He said, no, he said, no, I didn't. He said, I spent about $3,000 on Flight Simulator. Dude, hey, I died laughing. I was like, you did what? He was like, yeah, man, I have a lot of planes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he bought for a game that you could get free. That's one person that you could get that game free in Game Pass or pay $100 or so. I think I bought the $130 version of the game.
Yeah.
But look, instead of $130, he spent $3,000.
Yeah, and that's,
Dude.
that's one of those games that still you could only play on an Xbox console, and yet Xbox has no exclusive. All the games are on PlayStation.
Hold on, Hebot, you talk too much. So you mean to tell me on that terrible, no power having Series S, you could play Flight Simulator on that too?
You can play that on that too.
Okay, I was just checking.
That's only because the S supports cloud. Guess what console don't support cloud? PS5 and PS5 Pro.
Yeah, you have to pay for cloud saves on that. I know.
Hey, but you can't use cloud for gaming.
Hey, man, hey, Hebot, that's not our fault, man. We can't worry about somebody else's problems, bro.
Right.
You look, you got a medical condition. We don't have time to worry about other people's problems. We got to worry about what we have going on in our house over here, okay? We can't worry about them over there.
You're not worried about that. It is what it is. But
hey, man, what else you got in here? I like going back and forth. Go ahead, give me some more. What else you got?
Well, I also brought I was trying to talk, which I think everybody saw that took the time to see the video, obviously. I also brought up the fact that, how people over here acting as if Microsoft is the big bad wolf, right? Because they had to off 4% of their workforce when it's a global thing, meaning the entire Microsoft company as themselves, even though they were trying to pan it as, oh, it was only the Xbox division, when it wasn't. It was the entire Microsoft company.
Hey, let's keep it telling the truth. That was Unlimited Productions boy Colin Moriarty. So we're gonna have to call Unlimited on that.
Exactly.
He did that.
And then the thing is, okay, it was 9,000 people, but these motherfuckers are acting like, oh my God, it's so horrible. Yes, it's bad when anybody loses a job.
Agreed.
But they're not losing a job like, let's say, me, you, or Sega Forever. That if we lose a job, we got to go to unemployment to collect, unless we got some type of, compensation or agreement or position in the company, right? Which, not everybody has. The first thing that was stated by Phil and by Matt Booty, these people are being compensated, and we're going to help them if they want to elect to stay within Microsoft in another division or somewhere else and get another position in what they do in the field that they professionalize in with another company, and we will gladly help them, right? So that means they weren't thrown to the fire to burn. They were being taken care of and showing the respect that they deserve and the appreciation for working for them for all those years. You see what I'm saying? And you see all these people, oh my God, it's so messed up. See, Microsoft just want to put AI. No. Microsoft want to put AI because they got to cut the bullshit. When you get paid and you work, you got to do your job. AI is going to eliminate the bullshitting, and it's going to eliminate people wasting their money and their time. You can't tell me that we can't take developers and make them have accountability. If, let's say, the second tier team of Rare, which is split in two, is making a game called Everwild for 10 fucking years. Meanwhile, Sea of Thieves has been going strong for like almost 8 and has over 45 million people on the goddamn game. But this second tier team has been working for 10 years talking about Everwild, even though Phil said the game was coming along nicely. When Phil got to go upstairs, like he said in his interview, I got to answer to Satya, Amy Hall, or whatever, Amy Hood. Those are our bosses, and they say, "Hey, listen, how long they been developing this game? 10 years, and is it almost done? They need about 2 or 3 more years. Oh, no, that's not how that works. We're not going to keep investing money and we're not getting no returns. The game could be as nice as it can, but that's enough. They had more than enough time to finish it. When you got somebody like the Obsidian, right, or that works for them, and all they've been doing is they've been making game after game after game and making the money, buttloads of money in the last 4 years since they bought them and acquired them, and they're a smaller team. You see what I'm saying? A smaller team bringing results. You see, their next game is Clockwork, Revolution, and they already got
Goodness, I
grounded.
can't wait for that game.
And they already got Grounded 2 coming out. You get what I'm saying? So you're gonna tell me that it doesn't make sense? Just like the people at Perfect Dark that was supposedly quote unquote, it was professionals, had all this experience for so many years, and that ever since they got in there starting to cook, that they were doing nothing but clashing, not agreeing,
Fighting with each other. Those idiots from Sony Studios think they know how to make a game.
With creative differences, and it was only 45 people. They even had the people from Crystal Dynamics to come in and help them. And
that part they knew that they were going to do. They'd establish this game and then bring on another studio to to build off their blueprint. Go ahead.
Check this out. Keeping in mind that they got the biggest budget, because they were going to make the first quadruple A game, right?
They did say that.
Right? So they're there. They have all this experience, and then when they showed the game last year, supposedly that game that they showed us was a technical of an idea of what they wanted to do, and it was using also some AI, and it wasn't even them.
That was another guy came on and said no, that was part of the game.
Right, but it wasn't really like actual game done, like finished supposedly.
No,
right?
it wasn't finished. You know how they do the tech demos
so what I'm
for the shows.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, brother, is the game, that means it was nowhere near in the finish line. And they started this 8 years ago. That means they needed another maybe 2 to 3 years to finish it. Ain't nobody gonna listen. Ain't nobody gonna sit like your boss is not gonna sit in here and you and your job in the position you're in, and you promising to do something, you getting paid the big bucks and meaning 6 figures and up. And you're gonna be working on a project for 8 years on, and you need another 3. That would make it maybe 11 years just so that you could do one project. And they haven't had no returns on no profits and returns on your investment. And keeping in mind that it's not guaranteed that Perfect Dark or Everwild were going to even sell or do well, because a lot of games come out and don't even do well. See what I'm saying? So you think your boss? You're gonna tell me your boss with a straight face, Sega Forever, and my brother other thing, that your boss gonna keep paying you when you haven't resulted on anything?
And see, here's the thing. I agree with all of that. And here's my thing. You kind of had to be way off. And the good part about Microsoft, and I explained some of this to Sega Forever, that COVID period hurt everything, every industry. And Microsoft didn't hold it against. They showed us proof that they didn't hold it against a lot of people. Just like Unlimited and our favorite in E-Rock, we loved. I just finished talking about this game. Redfall, loved it.
Yes.
One of the best single player games I've ever played.
And mind you, it's still better than 3 PS5 releases that came out that year.
Correct. And Matt Booty said it made its money in Jeff Grubb's face. So that team he bought, of course, you know it, they broke up before that game was even completed. Phil Spencer let them finish that. Look,
Unlimited. I mean, others, they didn't even want to finish the project.
Didn't want to finish.
Microsoft believed in them so much, said, no, finish it. We'll give you the money. Finish it.
Now, facts. Now, back to what you were saying about my most anticipated game, Perfect Dark.
Right.
You know they were being misfits at that studio. Because if they were as close as Redfall was and could show that, hey, this is what we made, Phil would have let that game go.
Right.
Perfect Dark have a great name. I like I was telling Sega Forever before you came in here, I love Perfect Dark Zero. It was one of the best co-op campaigns I've ever played. My son and I played because it forced you to split up and fight in different parts of the area of the game before you could join each other and fight together, right? So that the game, if they showed as much as Redfall showed, they would have let them finish. He bought they weren't close.
Yeah, they weren't close.
They were lying, bro. They weren't even close. And back to your boys over there at Rare and Sega Fab's boy that worked there for 35 years. Hey, bro, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Well, you've been here for 35 years and you've been making a game for 10 years and you can't show me what you're doing
Yeah,
that's gonna be worth it. You get out too. I'm gonna talk my shit. You could talk all the shit you want, but you can go now. You know,
right,
you're a millionaire because you have Microsoft stock. So get out. At least
right,
you make
right.
more. At least you have more money in your back pocket than
Mhm.
anybody at Sony and Sean Layden and his friends.
Brother Zink and Sega Forever. It's nothing personal. It's just business 101.
This is
Come
a
on now.
fact.
These people had an obligation.
You had an
You got
opportunity.
paid
How many people don't want an opportunity, he bought? They
the
would relish that opportunity.
shit. I wish. We probably all wish. I wish I could get an opportunity to do something I love at Microsoft, right? And it hasn't happened, right? It probably never will. But these people get an opportunity. Instead, they're on Twitter showing themselves drinking martinis, doing parties, and the game ain't
Facts.
even done. The game
Facts.
ain't
Hey,
even done.
hey,
But
hey,
they had a six-figure income coming in
this is a
and
fact. Or
back,
more.
and then they even got a chance, like you said, because Microsoft. But a lot of people don't understand. You remember that most of these companies after COVID, they let everybody off. Like they wiped out with everybody because they were doing bad. The only company that did
Oh,
really well was Walmart, right? And
hey,
Amazon.
dude, Microsoft didn't lay off a lot of people. They were
No, they didn't lay
hiring
off.
people.
They
Yeah,
barely laid off anybody because what
this
they
is a
did
fact.
was they were like, we got to give them a chance because
Oh,
COVID did
let
affect
me say
people.
something else that a lot of people have been misreporting. They
Hmm.
saying that Microsoft overhired during COVID and a lot of companies overhired. Microsoft didn't overhire. Microsoft
Hmm.
hired so they could keep things going the same
Right,
because they're
without no real hiccups. Right, right.
right, because they're mostly a software and a service company. So they had to overpower everything to keep all of our systems the
But
same.
they ran with that narrative because of the delay of Halo Infinite. But
You when your work changes and now all
mhm,
of a sudden you
mhm,
can't see what someone is doing in the
mhm,
cubicle next to you. Oh,
mhm,
there's going to delay. How about the delay? Hey, Hebot, where's your
mhm,
favorite game factions at? Where the hell is
mhm.
that? You
Right,
know, you
right.
talked all that shit about factions. I still don't see it. Hey man, I'm gonna tell
Dude.
you right now. Hey, my daughter's in college. I think Sega Fab's kid is in college. If my daughter worked at Microsoft, they would fire her. I'm telling you now, they fire her because me
Mhm.
and my boy Ramo, we'd be at Microsoft offices every day, just sitting outside. They say,
Mhm.
little Zink, could you tell your father and his friend to go home, please? You gonna sit outside and just watch the building, bro? I'm happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
little lady Zink, we gonna have to terminate you because your dad just won't leave the building. You know what I'm saying? She get fired for that shit because we will stay there. You know what I'm saying, man? Please,
He's
it's a privilege to work there.
trying to celebrate that she achieved something big, right? So
Yeah, dude.
it makes sense. So like, and that's what I was trying to bring up in the video as well, like because everybody keeps on, oh, it's Microsoft. So you're not gonna take no developer and have any kind of accountability when they're the ones getting paid the big bucks and they've been had more than enough time to make these projects. Meanwhile, you got smaller teams making the projects, doing what they're doing, and achieving their goals. That's not a good look. The optics is terrible. You got to answer to the big boss, and the big bosses that are bringing out that money in that purse are people on top. So they're not going to care if the game looks good, if it's been in development 18 years and it still hasn't dropped. They're not going to do that. The only reason that Rockstar gets away with it is because Rockstar, Take Two, their money crash is Rockstar, is the guys who do
Hey,
the,
Hebot, hold
the
on.
GTAs and the
Ho-
fucking and the fucking and the
no,
fucking Red
that's
Dead
it. Red
Redemptions.
Dead Redemption.
But
Hey, Hebot, but
but
here's the thing. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
No,
No,
you go.
I was gonna say real quick, but the difference is those games have established they establish a pillar. They are going to make money for them
Hey,
no matter what.
see, hey, Sega Forever. See what I mean? I let Hebot keep talking so he could tell the first lie of the whole show. See, hey, Hebot is over here covering up information. Hey, Hebot, Rockstar also laid off people.
Exactly.
Hey, man, and we're not laughing that people got laid off,
No,
but
no,
we're laughing
no.
that nobody
We're,
wants to
we're,
talk
we're
about
laughing at
that.
the irony that
This is
Rockstar
a
has
fact
one of the most successful games, and yet they still
of
had to
all
lay off
time.
people.
This is
Absolutely.
a fact. Yeah. So, but nobody wants to badger the hell out of them for it.
No, no,
And
no,
they
no.
do. And I don't even like Grand Theft Auto, but I'm
No, me
gonna be
neither.
one of the I'm gonna be the first one of the first ones to buy it and play it because I respect what they've done with this game.
Right, right.
When you can make a game like this and watch 6 different podcasts with 5 or more people in the podcast, and everyone has something different to say about the game, bro, you
Mhm,
made a great ass game. You
mhm.
took time to make
Or at
this
least you
game.
made something compelling enough that it's worth talking about. Obviously,
Yeah,
yeah.
and have so many varying opinions and scenarios that happen to one another. No
Mhm.
one's story was the same. That's the
No,
mark of a great game to me. When no one has the same thing to say, yet you're all excited about it, dude. That's what I want to hear. Something that
right,
I've never experienced before. So I'm going to buy the game and I'll play it for about 10 hours and put that bitch down,
right, right.
just to
And
experience it.
who
But
knows?
but I
Who
give
knows?
this credit.
You might end up even liking it, right? So, because
Oh,
that's
I like
that's
it, but I
also a
don't like it more
possibility.
than that is true. But I know I'm not going to like it, even though I could. I just want to experience it because it's not my kind of game. But you know me, I'm glad E-Rock ain't here because he'll run his mouth again. Because
Mhm.
I'll be right back to playing Gears and Forza
Right,
and,
right,
and
right,
Halo, and E-Rock could come with his shit. Oh, the Zink is playing games from 10 years ago.
right, right. Listen, when a great experience is a great experience, you go back to it. Because I play Ninja Gaiden all the time, and
Oh
I've
my
beaten that
goodness.
game so many times. It's not even funny.
Hey, you know what? That's my game of the year so far. I beat that bitch 8 times. That's why I haven't played all of these games that I'm behind in right now. Like the game that you came in here talking about, South of Midnight.
Yes,
I,
yes,
I
I
wanna
love South of Midnight. South of Midnight was fantastic. I beat it and I loved it. It's my
already bought it.
second choice for game of the year. My first choice is still Split Fiction because it's absolutely out of this world. It's just doing things you've never seen before. And I
Mhm.
keep telling everybody, you got to play Split Fiction. If y'all don't play it, you're not going to understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. This is the same way when I said It Takes Two was my game of the year. So far, Haze Light Studio for me is like the gem, the hidden gem that people never expected. Like they're just amazing. They are great, great developer. They're fucking great. The Way Out,
And that
fantastic.
uh, that
Brother,
other game too.
fantastic.
What's the other game with the wand? Um,
With the wand
yeah, well, you have a different ways to do things. It just came out. It came out this year.
recently.
It's one of the new Xbox games. Great game. I haven't played it because of Ninja Gaiden. I just kept
Right? Is it
playing my bit.
Immortals? Is that the one you're talking about?
Not
Immortals?
Immortals. It was an Xbox game.
About?
It was
About?
about. I love that game, dude.
Sega man, Sega
I,
forever. He fucking destroyed that shit. He's
bro,
been talking about how it's a good game, but how
I
people
love
been
it.
depicting the game in such a wrong way because they don't
Oh my
understand it because
goodness.
they give away themselves. Other things they show and prove that they're not rooted gamers like us. Like from the very, I've been playing games from the beginning. That
Yes,
we know the genres, we know the differences, we
yes,
know the structure of
yes,
all the different genres and why, how they play out, and how it works,
yes.
and what they're going for. Because we've
Man,
played so many different genres since the beginning
and the
that we know
reason I
that.
like that game, I like the Valve so much. It felt almost like BioShock. I'm
Okay.
like, this is phenomenal. And then that's one of the reasons I like that Clockwork game that we saw at
Yeah, yeah,
E3.
yeah.
And it was so many variants in that game. I said, I'm never going to die. I'll never die in that game. They'll
Mhm.
never catch up to me. It's too many things for me to do to kill you. Hey, I, I can't wait for that game. But you know,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
Ninja Gaiden was so great.
Yeah,
I beat the game 8 times,
yeah. It still holds up.
and I'm
It
not
still
done.
holds up.
I'm gonna beat it again. And you know
I
what?
wish they brought out other stuff like Devil, like Dante's Inferno, like re-released it or back and pat somehow, or
Hmm.
things like Ninja Blade. That game was also when From
Hmm.
Software was actually on their A game, in my opinion. Like Otagi 1 and 2. Oh man, I would love to play fucking newer iterations of those games. I wish. Yeah, I'm glad they're back compat, at least Otagi 1 and 2, but
Hmm.
um to see new version, like a new one or a remaster of the old ones would be
Hmm.
fantastic.
You know
'Cause
something I
they were
did? I think it was on Ray Ray's show where
Mhm, mhm.
it's so many games. I was mad at Phil Spencer
Ah,
because it was already games to play, and then they dropped that Atari collection,
oh yeah.
that old shit. Hey man, it was Ray Ray's show. I play, and I told my boy Zink Griffin where I got my name from. He's 2 years older than me. I played Enduro.
Yeah.
Then I played Forza Motorsport. And my boy Zing Griffin was like, "Oh, you trying to kill yourself, huh?" Man, Enduro was so much bullshit. But
Mm,
it was great back then. And
yeah.
I played that one terrible fishing game where you just put the line down there and it
Yeah,
caught you.
yeah, yeah.
I was playing that shit, Ebot. Hey, I
Yeah.
kept playing Kaboom. I'm playing this.
Boom.
I played it until my hands hurt,
Shit,
because you had to.
I love playing Missile Command,
Oh
Night
man.
Driver.
Yeah.
Um,
And see, and that's my thing, dude. When you playing a racing, the electric racing sets that we used to have, you're 2 years old. It's 1970, and somebody said, "Hey, you could remember that." The reason I remember it, we got a racing set every year till I was like in the sixth or the seventh grade. So
mhm.
you playing these, and racing is your favorite thing. Again, glad E-Rock isn't here because black person like NASCAR is a crime. So you
Hey,
you
wait a second. Before we move on, all I'm gonna tell you guys, since I know you like NASCAR, but
I
holy,
love NASCAR. Go ahead.
go watch, go fucking watch
That Formula One
F1.
movie. Hey,
Oh
you know what? Hey,
my
hey,
God.
hey. That's
It is
I-
out of this fucking world. It's fantastic.
hey, Hebot. You know how when you get older, like I told Sega Forever, I'm 57.
Hmm.
Things start happening around you. So when you plan to go to the movies, then the lady you see, her mom passes away. So now you're doing that. Now some kid has a wedding. So now you can't get to the movies to see F1. So and that's something like we like you unlimited Sega man, like things in your hand. You want a hard copy. That's a
Hmm.
movie. That's a movie I want to see on the big screen.
Oh,
And
absolutely. You've
if I
got to
don't get
see it.
it, bro, I'm gonna be so mad if I don't see
You've
that
got
movie
to
on the.
see it.
Hey,
You've
it's
got to
like
see
it's
it.
it's like my favorite place on earth. Even though Sega Forever stay in the prettiest land space on the planet, my favorite place on the earth I'll never see because it's Mount Everest. I went to the
Mm,
movies just to see the movie Everest
Everett.
because of that mountain. And of
Right,
course
right,
I'll
right.
never go there. It borders China and another communist country. So my black ass ain't going to no that. Black people, we don't climb no mountains anyway.
Hell no,
So
we ain't doing that.
yeah, so I'll admire that from afar. But I saw it at the movies and I saw it at home because I just think that mountain is so majestic. And of course, when I got Flight Simulator, that's not on the PlayStation, the
Right.
first place I flew to was Mount Everest and crashed into it, but
Nice.
they won't show you crashing. The screen just go black. But I flew over
Yeah.
Mount Everest just because I wanted to go to my favorite place.
Just
But
because you
yeah,
can
man,
do it. Just
yeah,
because you can do it.
yeah. But back to you talking about the most important thing on the planet, auto racing. I want to see F1,
Oh,
and
you have
and
to.
uh, and
And I
because
tell you, you owe it to yourself. It's like the first thing I thought about when I was saw it, watch it, was, oh
oh,
my God, other Zink would love this fucking movie,
hey,
especially that
hey,
he liked, and
speaking of that,
the NASCAR.
since you and the water fountain guy, Tuckmaster, always bring up something that I have to comment on. You talking about F1, and since everybody is hating on Forza because they got rid of 50% of whatever it was, contract workers or workers,
Right,
they dropped the biggest download ever. And in that download was IndyCar. This is the first time they put it on there. The 2025 IndyCar
right,
is
right.
on the game. And dude, man, I raced and I raced and I raced again. Dude, I've been playing Forza for the last 2 weeks. I haven't even
Mhm.
played Gears. Dude, I mean, but
Oh yeah,
these
I
are
play.
the things.
I play Forza all the time too. I'll go in and play it when I get a chance. I love playing Forza. I love Forza Motorsport. Love
He
it.
he he about I think I have 29 days or so on Forza.
I
I,
wouldn't
I'm
really.
a
I wouldn't doubt it.
I'm a
I
I'm a
don't doubt it.
level I think I'm a level 833 or something like that. Some 830 something.
Wow.
But but
Right, right.
but but he bought you they put and you know what? I actually wrote to Phil Spencer what I wanted. I know we missed some things in the beginning. COVID ruined a lot of things, and they made a mistake creating the tracks. The tracks didn't adhere to the new tire physics they had. So they had to recreate every track that put them behind. So
Right,
we got the Nürburgring late, and that all that hurt so bad, But
right.
I stayed quiet, and I told Phil himself what I wanted. He gave us NASCAR. And I said, hey, I sent them a picture of my Wolverine 23 Project Scorpio NASCAR. And I said, I appreciate this. One more thing. Could we have Formula One or IndyCar? We just got it.
Mm-hmm.
I played the endurance races. Of course, I created my car, and it's IndyCar that they don't have in your favorite game, Gran Turismo.
No,
Don't have it.
no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the movie was phenomenal. Like I said,
I can't
I
wait
know
to
you'll
see that
love it.
shit now.
You got to see it. It's the same director who did Top Gun Maverick, the sequel, which was also an excellent movie. Phenomenal,
Mm.
phenomenal.
Now
Highly
that you talked
recommended.
all this shit, I think I have one shot to see this movie, and it's Sunday because I have to go to
Yeah,
that
yeah, because
wedding
they
next
might take
week.
it out soon because the other big ones are coming out.
That's gonna
Um,
piss me off if I don't see that movie up
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You just ruined my day, and it's
No,
already
no,
bad because
no,
I'm in
no,
trouble.
no. I'm just trying to tell my brother that he needs to see it because I know you're
Okay,
gonna appreciate the fuck out of it.
yeah,
Man, it's a good movie. Hmm.
yeah.
I saw it late
What else
night.
you got, man? Other than ruining my day talking about this formula, I'm glad you brought that up though, because I do want to see that at the theater. But what
Well,
else you got, man?
I remember the minute you started talking about Forza. I thought, oh, let me let him know because
Oh my
that's, like I
goodness.
said, the movie was really, 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 really good.
Yeah, man. And when
Um,
I watch the WNBA game or when I'm watching a feed and they'll send that Formula One, that commercial, that F1
mhm.
commercial, I'm like, I gotta see this movie.
Well,
And then
my son bought
I start doing something else and forget about it. But I'm glad you said something because I've
yeah,
written
my
it
son
down
bought
and I'm seeing it.
he bought the game, and there's a DLC that has the characters from the movie and the car and the skins and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta play the demo because you know how particular I am about a racing game
Mhm.
now. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna buy it just to buy it and it turned out to be some trash. But I saw it on when I turned the game on the other day. Oh, and let's talk about this too real quick before everybody start complaining because I heard somebody complain about it already. Now, when you turn on your Xbox, you get an advertisement, and when you select the game, the screen will turn to a broader picture of the game you're playing, showing you different things about the game, and then you push another button and you enter the game. I like that shit. I like that. And I heard other people complaining, oh, it's just another button click. Why don't we can't we just play the game? They always advertising something. Bro, I like that. I
right.
like seeing, some of the things like that. Because actually it made me, that's the reason I know I'm almost at 30 days playing Forza. Because I say, I wonder how many days, what's my time in Forza? You know.
I'm pretty sure it's up there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Definitely crazy. What about you, Zay, bro? You've been quiet. You ain't saying nothing. You here? You alive? What's
That's
going on?
how he is, man. Sega Forever, he'll put on a show. The show lasts 24 hours, and he'll go to the mall. He'll take his kids shopping. They'll go see Diamond Head and a Naoma Bay, and the show is still going on, and then he pull up again.
No,
Then he
I
pulled
went.
over.
I just came back. I just came back from watching F1. It's awesome, man. Awesome.
He's trying to message you, Zay. Zay, he's trying to message you. Look at that camera.
Nah, I did have to pick up my daughter though. So
That was funny as
I wrote
hell.
in the chat. I wrote in the chat that I had to go grab
You
her.
ain't shit, Zay, forever. You ain't
Oh
shit.
my
That's what
goodness. And I
yo.
can't see
You
chat.
hear our
That was
brother
funny.
Zay pouring out his heart, talking about, I got to see that shit too before it come out. And you just let him know you just came from the movie.
Sure
That's
did.
dang.
This joker said, I'm gonna go to the movie, watch it with my daughter, get some popcorn, and then come back and tell Zink
And then
all
come
about the
back.
movie.
But we were just talking about and loading about wanting to see the movie. That's messed up.
hmm
You ain't
Yeah.
shit, Zay. You ain't shit.
Oh my goodness gracious, that was so
Oh man,
funny, boy.
you saw that it came out. There's another nice thing that came out today. I saw that Ninja Theory's Hellblade 2 was a good success and that it did well for them. Since everybody was trying to say, "Oh yeah, Hellblade 2 coming," because nobody supported it, they didn't like it, it made no money, and it came out today that it was very successful.
No, nobody liked it when it was on the PlayStation. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they
yeah,
were
yeah,
trying to say.
yeah. But you saw how they were trying to say, "Oh, the
Yeah.
Xbox guys didn't support it. They didn't play it. They didn't support it." And it came out today that it was successful. They released the
I mean,
news.
We,
given what Microsoft just did, I mean, if you're still
Uh-huh.
around, that must mean that must mean you're good. You know,
Well,
this is a fact. Yeah,
I
this
don't
is a
think that's
fact.
work.
you know, Microsoft just purges people because they don't give a fuck. They
No,
like
but you know,
firing because it's funny to them.
no, that's like I did the podcast today, brother, because I woke up and I got that message saying, "Oh, there's no
Right,
more. You
right.
know, you can't buy any more movies or games." You know, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn,
yeah, yeah,
Microsoft don't play, dude. They just be like, all
yeah,
right,
yeah. Well, you know what? Forever, not for nothing. To be honest with you, Sony fucking turned off their movie store like 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago.
yeah,
It's just something that financially it's not there. You know, you got too many people on the subscription services.
Mhm.
A lot of people are not really consuming digital media because they don't want to fucking feel like they're throwing away their money. Because remember, they had that big problem where all the movies were disappeared and taken away from people in Europe. Remember with PlayStation?
yeah,
So
hmm
I'm assuming
And they
they
got
just
sued for that too.
and they got sued for it, right? So I'm assuming that
yeah.
the store doesn't do well enough to keep sustaining it, and it's sad
Well,
because it's good to have the option.
well, what I explained to Sega Forever is like Morgan Stanley. They
Hmm.
used to get information free, and I think Monday during stock market open, the one of those banks, they said you're gonna have to pay for this now, and Microsoft don't own this service, so maybe that service said, well, you're gonna have to pay or pay extra for this now, and they said, well, you know what, we not making enough profit off of this, so you go ahead and keep it. And like I told Sega Forever, one day I bought the first movie I bought from there was Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay,
I bought that one time at like 1:30 in the morning, and I think the only other movie I bought was the Avengers, Doctor Strange. I like
Doctor
that
Strange.
movie. I bought Doctor Strange, and that was it. But yeah, but that's what I think it is. I think it's something that they don't own, and it was a service that they bought, and it's just another way of cutting costs. Why are we paying you for this? Why are we maintaining this? So
If
we'll get
it's
rid of this.
not making them money, like enough money or income, you cut it all, and that'll cost, and you could dedicate it somewhere else. You know what I mean?
You could allocate those dollars somewhere
Somewhere else,
else.
right, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and plus, more people are buying movies physical now with the 4K because they really like the transfer bit for bit. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying? They're releasing so many things
mhm.
now more
Or
often. They're
when you
not
get
even
lazy,
crafting.
or when you get
Dude,
lazy like me, I told
I,
Sega Forever, that I wanted to see Trading Places. And I know I
Yeah.
have I told him too, I said, I know I have my Hebot Sega Man hard copy somewhere in this house, right? But I didn't I didn't feel like looking for it. So I saw where it went from 14.99 to 9.99. I said, let me stop being cheap and buy this movie. I just bought it last night on Prime. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
so yeah. But that was the
Well, the good
last thing
thing
I
is
bought
they're
this.
not taking away your movies. Like basically,
Yeah.
yes, yes, you are how you call it. Yes, they are closing the store that you can't buy
Yeah.
nothing else new. But
Mhm.
whatever you have, your catalog, you'll always be able to access it.
You
They're not
always
taking
have
it away. So you just would have to buy more movies somewhere else, like Prime, Apple Plus. And I guarantee you, it's because they make so much money, Microsoft can't even compete. You know what I'm saying? Because
it. Hmm.
Prime is big. A lot of people buy shit on Prime. A lot of people buy shit on Apple Plus. So I'm pretty sure they're like, we're just wasting our time in this space. Might as well just
Yeah.
let it
And
go
you
and
know what?
allocate it somewhere else.
He bought when Sega Forever first brought that to my attention. I'm like, oh no. I said somewhere in that article they're gonna say they never making a Halo movie again. And I'm
Ah,
sitting over here, hey,
Yeah, so
and
that's
He
the
bought
next thing I kind of wanted to talk about
Heba,
because
I
okay,
calmly looked over and I looked
uh-oh.
at my
Don't tell me who did
Halo
it. Who
one
did
and
it?
two seasons that's still at my that I have my Hebot Sega Man copy of right here that I'm
Yeah.
looking right at. But tell me, you have something bad to say, Sega Forever? What were you about to say about the Halo movie?
no, so it's the direction they're heading, right? So because I do that, I actually I do more on my Xbox besides just playing games.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's the thing. I felt like they were going back into the direction of 2013, and that's what when I woke up this morning I saw that I was like, all right, that's to me like I would rather them grow that part of their business. But I get it, dude. Look, they just laid people off, right? They closed a couple studios.
Hmm.
Looks like they're going to go the other route. The thing for me is that I would prefer to do everything on my Xbox because I really don't like Apple.
I
And the other
understand.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand.
And it's
And,
it's a nice feeling to have all your things that you do on the same area, the same space.
mhm.
and you know what
And you
they need to get better with that because for me one thing that made me buy in a little bit more is that I saw the movie Better Off Dead. Okay, so
Right,
Better Off
right, right, right.
Dead, yeah, it was the longest time not on digital, and I had it on VHS, I had it on DVD, I had it on I had it on those two formats. Then Fandango, because I bought most of my stuff on Fandango, which became Voodoo. I mean Voodoo, which became Fandango. And the reason I went with them is because it's Walmart, right?
mhm.
And a lot of my movies, I took the disc to the store and they transferred it for me.
Mm, okay.
So that's why I stuck with them. But then when Microsoft came on board, you saw them starting putting stuff in like um, uh, what's the Gone with the Wind. You saw them
Mhm,
starting to do the collections, right? You
mhm,
started them
mhm.
starting to act like an actual digital movie
Give me a
store.
second.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm,
and so that kind of confirmed to me, like you know what? So what I ended up doing, that it was gonna be that they were serious, and what I ended up doing was actually rebuying some of those movies because they're on Xbox. Now, granted, I got them for 4.99, 7.99, not full price. You know what I'm saying? But
You just like your services concentrated, and there are people like you, and
well,
there are people that's simple like me. If it's here, I'd rather get this than get up
well,
and go get it.
I'll take it a step further
Go ahead.
because for me, Prime doesn't work good.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
What?
so I don't know what it is about their service. Plus, Prime is just too jumbled. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like their. I don't like nothing about Prime. If I'm being honest, even if it's a
The
good show or a good movie I want to watch, if it's on there, sometimes I don't even watch it.
the only reason I got Prime is it was a cheaper way for me to watch the WNBA.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I got it just for that because I think the Fubo one costs $80 a month, and I said I'm not paying that. Also, it had here I am again. Glad E-Rock isn't around. I also bought it because the first part of the NASCAR season was on Prime.
Hmm.
So every Sunday I would have been on Prime anyway. And then they had some of the WNBA games. So I'm like $14 a month isn't bad for that. So
Yeah, and their
I got it for
WNBA package, their service is
yeah.
better than the League Pass. because I had
Yeah,
the League
it's
Pass and most of the games I couldn't watch.
yeah, right, right. It's on
Yeah,
Ion and other things, a CBS channel, and
yeah,
then part of it is on ESPN. So
hmm
you know, it's multiple places. But I understand your point, and you have to think about this too, Sega Fiver. Like the TV I have upstairs and the TVs I have for the stock market, they're smart TVs and they have everything on them already. You know, so you have all of these services on them that does the same thing your Xbox does downstairs. You know, with a few more things, and you know, a lot of times I'll watch a show up here versus downstairs where my big stereo and everything is. I just rather stay up here sometimes and just watch a show. But we have a lot of options now, and things are becoming thin. It thins out um, the earning space because they are. It's like if it's the same as if you had a McDonald's on every corner within a half-mile radius. You know, the business is not going to be that big because there are too many people that do the same things.
well, I
So
guess because like the one thing that, and I know because I've seen the comments today of people their participation, but to
mhm.
me nobody did anime better than Xbox, their store.
Yeah, and you
Because,
see, and of course, Sony, he about to know this because they movie people.
mhm,
Sony bought those anime people,
they bought Crunchyroll. Yeah.
Crunchyroll. Yeah, I don't understand all of that. The last thing I watched was Ninja Scrolls like decades ago because my cousin had it on DVD or whatever.
So
But
like
I
Crunchyroll is the service, and I have Crunchyroll, so that's good. That's the only other subscription I pay for. Crunchyroll, Netflix, that's it. And I think I have Roku, but I have something. It's something to do with my phone. I don't know,
mhm.
but I don't go out of my way to get all these other services.
Yeah,
But what I will say is
same.
like there's nobody like so you could get full seasons on Xbox, right?
Yeah,
And they would have like certain times of the year. First, they did an anime month, which is to me it would be better if they just did that. But then certain times of the year, they would actually reintroduce um, the anime for you to purchase, right?
hmm
And then I would pay if it's something I really like, I would just buy it. I have no
yeah,
problem.
same,
A lot of times,
same.
their stuff goes on sale.
Yeah,
So
like I bought like a bunch of seasons of Batman on DVD on this
mhm.
big thick DVD set of the real Batman. And I'm glad I'm saying this out of the presence of Unlimited and and E-Rock, those movie buffs and comic book people, because Adam West is the only real Batman. Everybody else that play Batman is an actor. Adam West is the only real Batman, so I have my Batman here, from the '60s,
Mhm.
the real authentic Batman, you know. But but yeah, man, I don't like to see services go, but I kind of understand it.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
of course, hey, you remember TV is not what we were supposed to be doing anyway,
yeah. That's what
you
they
know.
said.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you look at your Xbox today, this is Don Matrix vision from way
Mhm.
back then. And of course, people don't want to talk about the next day we got all of the games and nothing but the games, all of the games. But they wanted to harp on something and turn it into a negative every single time,
And
you
that's what
know.
everybody's doing right now. Everybody copied that formula.
Everyone copy that formula, and trying to make things more of a service because this is just the way things are. And I explained this on Ray Ray's show that um and no, I said this a couple years ago when the Activision trial was going on. I told Dirt and Sean that even our cars are going to have software packages that you're going to pay for monthly. I told them that. And of course, now what you get, General Motors has Super Cruise. It's available free for the first 3 years. Then you're going to have to pay a monthly fee for Super Cruise. Tesla, you have to pay for full self driving. You have to pay a monthly fee for that.
Yeah.
All of them are charging. You have different service packages that's going into all of the new cars. You know that everyone is going to have to pay for. So everyone is making money at the point of sale except for Sony. So and that's I always bring it back to Sony. I can't stand those dudes over there. So, but hey, man, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I gotta wrap it up too because I gotta. My daughter has a program tonight, so we gotta go to
Oh
that.
man, congratulations to her, dude. And there's nothing better than coaching your kids and coaching kids and going to those little shows that they had when
Oh
they
yeah,
were little. So anyway, man, yeah, I'm glad I was on here and call Dia and tell Dia to make herself available
yeah.
because we ready to play some gears. All right, man.
All
I'll
right.
talk to you later, man.
Thanks,
Peace.
Zach, man.
Yeah.
Copy it. Peace
All right
out.
now.
All right, man. So yeah, I gotta wrap it up, guys. I gotta go. Good to have the brothers on here. Sega, man, I see you, brother. Thank you for being in. Heba, man, thanks for stopping by. Sorry, I had to pick up my daughter, guys. So I had to step for a bit. But you know how the guys are here, man. They can carry the show. They're good at that. Anthony Chipmunk, brother. Cheers to you. Tool man in the house. Appreciate it, man. I know. Yeah, Pepe. Sorry, man. I know we started kind of and Big B. I know we started kicked it off, and then the brothers came in, and you know what? I haven't talked to Zink in a long time. It was great to have him in here, dude. As you can see, he's a man of much knowledge when it comes to this stuff. And look, guys, don't worry. I'm not gonna get into my feelings about the story. I am gonna miss it for various reasons. Well, you know what I'll do next time, guys? I'll do an all-in chat, and I'll let you guys talk about it. Because I know you guys. I can tell from Pepe. I know Vontae was in here as well. Thanks, Vontae. Sega man. I know you guys have a lot that you guys would say on this stuff, man, because a lot of us, I know one of the reasons some of you guys come to this channel is because of the stuff that I'm into, and you guys are the same way. Like, we could be talking about Xbox games, and next thing we're switching to K-pop Demon Hunters, and next thing talking about Superman, right? And that's the lifestyle we live, man. So I'll do an all-in chat probably tomorrow, and then you guys can come in, and we'll just do it a chat, man. It's just for you guys in the chat, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail. All right, but I gotta go, guys. Thanks for stopping in. Xbox All In channel. We'll say good forever. We out.